Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the NSE UK Splatoon University League. It is week 2, and you have exactly the same commentary lineup as last week, actually. It is me, Conroe, joined again by Hat, who will be on for the whole session. He'll be joined by another commentator in the final round of the day. But yeah, Hat, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I've been very much enjoying Splatoon as of late again, and I'm super excited to have another week of the NSC. Last week was absolutely fantastic to see this level of Splatoon, and I'm very excited to have another week of this beautiful, beautiful British University tournament. Now, since it's more, the UK is more your area than mine, for the people who haven't watched this before, can you tell us something about the NSC and what it exactly is?
Yeah, so NSE is kind of esports for universities, essentially, as the title of the tournament gives it away. There is a tournament for Splatoon, thankfully, and we have many participants in this. I think there are 35 teams for this tournament this season. They kind of base it on, seasons, aka semesters at the universities. So this is the first one of the university year, winter 2025. And it's there are going to be 3 days, like 3 Mondays in a row, where it's basically Swiss. You play 3 Swiss rounds every week. So in total, you're going to play 9 matches. You can skip a week if you want, but that means you're not going to play 9 matches. So you've got less of a chance of making the top cut. And the top cut will be the top 8 teams. And there will also be a Division 2 for teams finishing between 9th and 16th. And the match format, if you've watched any of the official Nintendo tournaments, is very similar. It's a best of 5 games set, and game 1 is kind of a turf war mini set. So it's best of 3. If you win 2 turf war games, then you essentially take the first game of the whole set.
And I really like this format, especially for players who aren't as competitive as us, for example, with a long history dating back to the old Splatoon games. I think it is great, but also for more casual fans watching as well. I think you can relate a little bit more to the players who are playing in tournaments like this, as opposed to only seeing the ranked game modes. Not everyone plays as much ranked. Now, we already saw a lot of Mahi Mai Resort last week, and it was a super fun opening for both of these teams, and really tested the waters. You always see the teams kind of adjusting to each other, especially when that map changes for the better and more area becomes available. You see a bunch of new flank routes coming, and you see the players taking full advantage of that. So I'm super excited to see if we are going to see some similar gameplay here. Now, I think we saw some of these players on last week's stream as well. So excited to hear how much they have improved compared to the last week, and if you're going to see more sweeps or if it will be closer today.
Yeah, and given the nature of, well, the Swiss format, we should hopefully see some closer matches as we go along, because, in Swiss you play against teams that with basically the same win-loss record as you. So we should definitely see some closer matches as we go. And yeah, what you said about the players is very interesting, because we do see some competitive players in this. We see Wither and Yoshi already, who I know are two. They do have some competitive experience. Solon Cardinals have Yoshao as well, who is probably one of the best backlines in the game anywhere at the moment, let alone the UK. I think Yoshao might be sitting out for Turf War, but we are going to get into Turf War. Mahi Mahi Resort once again. We saw plenty of this last week, and the Reflux is coming out again. Popular pick in Turf War. No Reflux from the other side though, Hat.
I like that brush though. The brush also very underrated in Splatoon 3, but it paints so well. Now players like Robic are very much enjoying this weapon. I also like the flinks that are coming out from charge. It's a bit of a unique pick, but I think it definitely has its little niche and can hopefully fight off that Reflux. But the missiles already gonna pose a huge problem for this Splatling, as they are forced to move constantly. You can't really sit still with a Splatling, but this one doesn't really care because it shoots everyone down anyway. Big opening for Jorvink, as they're taking a very strong control of the middle of the map here, Conroe.
Yes, they are Jorvink in the blue, and they do have more control right now. The Inkjet coming out as well from Yoshi. They've already got a couple of picks on the ball point, and out comes the Inkjet on the ball point. Splatling can't quite get a pick. Solon Cardinals trying to come back in, Wither leading the attack. As I said before, they do have combat experience. They're the only one that I'm familiar with, at least, that have, and they're really going aggressive here with the Jawlies, not quite getting the pick. They do jump out, but it's suddenly switched. It is Solon Cardinals with more control. Wither just trying to back off from the Flingser, not feeding that while the Flingser's charging up their missiles, at least I think it's missiles on that Flingser. Yes, it is. Moving away, and they're probably going to counter with their missiles of their own in a second. Maybe just waiting for some teammates there. They do have it online, and they've had it online for a while. So I think they're just waiting for a comp play maybe, but oh, what happened there? It's suddenly a double with the help from the Reef Slide, and Solent Cardinals have taken control.
I'm very sure Charles should use his missiles as soon as they possibly can, because they need to get rid of the players from the Cardinals. The Splat Wiper went down again. Charles, use those missiles, please! Help your teammates out. They're super stuck in that base right now. Charles actually gets splatted. I believe that is the ballpoint, or the reflux with the missiles doing its work, and it's going to sting for the Jorving, because now they lost one of their most important specials to at least open a push wave. They have to wait until that is recharged. Yoshi pushing in that base of the Jorving, making sure they cannot move whatsoever. The Jorving's very much stuck in their base. We still see everyone from the Cardinals slowly making their way forward into the base, and Jorving's actually got wiped with 40 seconds left on the board. That is not great timing, but it's still recoverable if they can get rid of some players here. It's going to be difficult with the Buoy Bomb coming out. T-Cat being caught in the middle between a Stamper and a Buoy Bomb. That is quick. Game over for them. The Dapple duties from the Cardinals also fallen. So did the brush on Jorving. And there's just nothing they can do. Ballpoint down as well. Tika trying their best to get rid of Yoshi. It's going to be a difficult fight. Lost that one, and with 15 seconds left on the board now, it's going to be very, very tough in Turf War. You need about 30 seconds to really conquer the map. And I don't think the Cardinals are going to let this go in any way, shape, or form. Buoy Bomb out of the field. Technical out of the field. They did lose 2 players, but with 4 seconds left, I don't think it matters. Charles going in, trying to paint as much as they can. But looking at this one already, I don't think Jorving had much of a chance of winning here anyway, as we see that the Cardinals take a very dominant game number 1.
Yeah, they were on top for the vast majority of that, save for the first fight where Yoshi's ballpoint on the other team did some work for them. But yeah, Solent Cardinals, quite convincing in game 1 on Mahi Mahi Resort. They have been historically quite a good team in NSE. Solent Cardinals, I don't think they've ever won Division 1, but they do often make Division 1 and they get quite far. Jorving Ducklings, according to our notes at least, they're a bit more familiar with Division 2. I believe they've won Division 2. They have made Division 1 a few times, but not quite reached the upper ends of Division 1 at all. But they've definitely got experience kind of making the top cut at least. And I mean, it wasn't all one way that game. They definitely had a chance at the start, but yeah, we saw maybe just a bit too much of a wait with the special sometimes. You know, it is important to time your specials, but with a special like Tenta missiles as well, where it's just going to target whoever's in there, and they are going to have to move. So yeah, hopefully we see a bit more often special use, would say, but also make sure it's still coordinated with your teammates so they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I don't think the fact that Charles held onto that missiles for so incredibly long, when they had multiple opportunities to use it, is such a shame, because it definitely cost them so much time. And Charles, it's a special you can and you should spam, honestly. That's the reason the reflux exists. The only reason it's there to paint and spam those missiles on the ground. So I think Charles should take some note with that one. And maybe the Flingsa, if you're going to play the missiles, just play the reflux. I know it's not as fun, but it's definitely a little bit better. But it looks like that Jorving has chosen Mekomart as their counter pick Turf War map. A very, very solid pick, especially for weapons like the Flingsa and the ballpoint. They're going to enjoy all those little legends. But I'm gonna word for them, because there's also a weapon on the side of the Cardinals who's going to enjoy that. And it is definitely the Stamper from Yoshi. They're going to have a ton of fun with all the legends. So as much as I like to pick, Jorving still has to watch out.
Yeah, definitely. As I'm getting a sense of deja vu with this one, because this was exactly the same as last week. It was Mahi Turf, and then we got Mako Turf in the second game, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, you're right. Stamper is a very strong weapon on this map. Pretty much any weapon that can kind of peek over ledges really well. So Stamper is definitely the best, but you have buckets and Splat Roller or Carbon Roller as well. They're both very good at that. I mean, Yoshi's Inkjet might be pretty good here if they can set up. It's one of those where basically instead of kind of sharking around the left platform, you just Inkjet and you fly over it and you you attack the defending team that way instead. It is Turf War, so Whether they'll get the chance to do that is another question. Yeah, I did forget to mention at the start, in this format, every single map is a counter pick except the very first. We always start on, in this case it was Mahi, and then whoever loses the previous game is choosing the map for the next mode.
I think I like that. It does offer the losing team some variety and these ways to play, but it can also backfire a little bit, as well, we saw last week as well. Some counter picks were received better than others. TCAT switching to the custom blaster, getting rid of that stamper, and I think that, or sorry, getting rid of the Splatana wiper. I think that's definitely a good choice. The Cardinals not switching any of the weapons, confident with their current composition, and why should they not? That Heavy already getting their special on the board very early on. They need to get it straight on, and 2 instant splats for the Cardinals as Jorving is being pushed back in their base heavily already. We haven't even started this game properly yet, only 30 seconds in, and the Jorvings are already in danger, according to our top screen here.
Yeah, they I think Yoshi just game 1 they started really well, and I think they tried to do the same again by going straight to their stack on the left-hand side. I'm assuming it was the Stamper that very quickly took them out though, and they just pushed forward with that to get a few more, and a couple more thanks mainly to the missiles. I think Charles on the Flinger again kind of got caught in those missiles, didn't give themselves enough time to back up. And again, all of these painting weapons on the side of Solent Cardinals are just getting it done for them. Spookster on the Reflux, which just paints a ridiculous amount. And I mean, we're seeing from Spookster more what you should be doing with missiles, which is basically just charge them and use them at all times. And you probably will get at least some benefit from it. So yeah, Jorving starting to come back in now. At least the players are up, but whether they're going to be able to come back in is another matter.
There's definitely going to be another question indeed. We do see them pushing up slowly towards the middle point here. TCAT fighting Wither. Wither forcing to back off because of the blast. But no! That is a Yoshi on the sidelines getting rid of that blast player. Booyah Bomb trying to get rid of the Brush as well. Brush now stuck in the corner. Can they survive that Stamper? It looks like they can. Just the Flingza from the Jorving does go down. Same with the Brush. Dapple Dooley's down on the side of the Cardinals. Definitely a player advantage, and the Jorving still in danger. They have to find a way to push up. Yoshi has their has their Inkjet ready, so they might want to use that anytime soon. Trying to get rid of some players, but the tactical is out on the field for the Cardinals. If they get splashed with them, it's not going to really matter that much. Big splash down on Yoshi. Getting rid of that Stamper is huge, and this allows the Cardinals to be pushed back as Jorving is slowly making their way in. 2 players down on the side of Cardinals as Jorving finally makes a big move in the middle of the map here.
Yeah, that was a huge splashdown to take out the player that's been causing them so many problems, and they got another pick, but now they're 2 down themselves, and it's really important at this point for the last 2 players to stay alive, but they're struggling to do that. I think they both went down there, and Wither on the Julie's playing very aggressively. The Reef Slide is going to get another one. It's looking dire for Jorving at this point, but that is an important pick to start the comeback. BR Bomb coming out from Yoshi on the Stamper at the right stack, not able to get anyone, and everyone is grouping up for Jorving on this side, and this could be a big team fight here. Nice grouping up. Suddenly it's 2 down for Solent Cardinals with 10 seconds left. That could not have come at a better time, and it's 2 down again for Solent Cardinals. Have Jorving brought this back? They're painting the map as much as possible. Where did all those splats come from at the end? That was a ridiculous team fight. Have they done it?
Even with a tacticooler, Jorving really said, no, this is our game, thank you very much. And they did bring it back, 39 to 50. What even happened? Can we get some replays? What even happened? For real, what even happened? I looked away for like a half a second to give a look at Sephiroth, give a huge raid on Twitch, 45 viewers. I was looking at it for a second, and I look at the game, I'm like, why is everyone gone? What happened there? What a game. What a turnaround of events by Jorving. As we were doubting them, they somehow found a way. But through that tacticooler, I think that is actually impressive. Getting rid of your players once, sure, but then they all respawn quickly. But then getting rid of them again without losing a single player is actually insane.
It really is, and yeah, I think they just all grouped up on the stack on their side. As you come out of spawn, it's the left stack. All 3 of Jorving's players, I think they were all respawning, literally. They all just went in the same way, and it's like, that's really good coordination. They kind of focused on one area. They picked out the one player that was trying to challenge them, and they all went in together from there. I don't know if maybe they just got desperate with tactical jumps and they just punished the jumps, but there you go. Yoshi was on that stack doing what they can. and it's just pick after pick. They just swim straight to Solent Cardinal sides, maybe punishing from some super jumps, and yeah, they just couldn't stop getting smacks. And like literally the last 20 seconds, I think they got at least 8 or 9 in total.
They did. I think
bring
they did,
that one back. Yeah, just a ridiculous comeback. 1-1 in the Turf War set, and we are going to go to game 3 in the Turf War mini set here.
Inkblot Art Academy is the map chosen by the Cardinals as their counterpick to Mako Mart, and I think we've seen this one as well a couple times. A very classic and solid map, and a lot of knowledge from Splatoon 2 coming over from players like Yoshell, who I think are advising Jorvink right now as they are currently not playing live. So they are advising the Cardinals, my bad. So I think that is a very, very good counterpick from them, and it does challenge some of the players on the side of Jorvink, but I think Jorvink with their weapon set might actually be a bit better off on Inkblot Art Academy. It's a very similar layout to Mako Mart, except you don't have the 2 stacks on the side, it's just 1 stack in the middle. But other than that, the maps aren't technically that different, so I still think Jorvink actually has a huge composition advantage here. If they can pull off the same stunt like in the last game, it would be very beneficial for them, but I think the Cardinals are going to play a little bit less super aggressive now after what happened, because I don't think they want that to happen again.
Yeah, quite possibly, and I've actually found out a couple of bits of info. First off, Solent Cardinals, they're playing with different IGNs, so for all we know, Yoshell might actually be playing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's
it might
true.
actually be Yoshi, not entirely sure. Also, it's actually pronounced Jorvink. It's kind of a Viking name, Jorvink. I think. Yeah, it's pronounced with the Y sound. So apologies, everyone. We've been mispronouncing their name for the first 2 games. We've got Jorvink Ducklings and Solent Cardinals playing for game 1 of the entire set because they've taken 1 Turf War set game each. And again, no changes. I mean, the comp definitely worked for Jorvink in the last game. So let's see if they can pull out another Turf War win to take game 1.
Winner did switch to the new Dapple Dualies, though, opting to go with the Killer Wheel, and I can see why on this map. There's a lot of long-range areas you don't really want to fight in as a Dapple Dualie. It's still a decent weapon here, but I think the switching it to the Killer Wheel is definitely a good approach. It's now Winner against TCAT on the side there. TCAT opting to go in, getting at the splat on this Dapple. That would be huge if they can get rid of that player right there. Nerling coming to help their teammate as well. We've seen the Dapples jumping out, Naren still on top, also pushing back. Jorvink now pushing a little bit forward, but there is Tacticooler on the side of the Cardinals, and this might be a very big push coming in. They're playing very aggressive. They got rid of TCAT, they got rid of Yoshi, they're looking at Charles right now. 2 players down on the side of Jorvink, make that 3, and make that a full wipe out on the side of Jorvink. Their Cardinals with a huge Tacticooler now pushing in the middle of the map.
Yeah, we're basically seeing what we've been seeing for most of Turf War so far. Solent Cardinals just maintaining control of mid. And as we said at the start, it is another good map for the Stamper just to poke over the platform. It's the same kind of effect as Mako Mart. And Solent Cardinals really just setting up mid. Now, I mean, the onus on them really this game is just to make sure in the last 30 seconds, what happened last game doesn't happen here. They have to keep this up for 3 minutes. That is the nature of Turf War. It's very volatile. Jorvink doing a good job of just staying alive this time. They're not really dropping players. Out comes the Inkjet from Yoshi. The BR bomb I don't think is going to get anyone. The blaster has to drop on the right, and there is going to be a fight there. They're outnumbered, and they do get punished. Jorvink just need a couple of picks to get back in. The Brush tries to get something top mid, but they get punished as well. Solent Cardinals holding firm so far, Hat.
Effective 3 players down there is going to be rough, especially with the amount of time left on the clock. There's not a lot of time to charge the special, start pushing in. 1 minute remaining. That is going to be a tough pill to swallow for Jorvink, but it's not unheard of. We saw it last game with a huge comeback to just have to get rid of those specials on the side of the Cardinals. Buoy Bomb is already gone. They have missiles. They use them. Can they get them in time? Yes, they can. Missiles are out on the field. Target a decent amount of players, but not enough to Winner counter the missiles by just standing still. 2 players down again on the side of Jorvink with 30 seconds remaining. It's going to be a very, very, very tough battle here for Jorvink.
It is, and the Brush is in a dead-end corner. They do jump out rather than take on the Dapples. Wise decision, I will say. And suddenly, again, 2 players down for Solent Cardinals. Jorvink, again, with 20 seconds left, and it's another player down. Are we about to see the same thing that happened in Game 2 here? The splashdown from TCAT to help them stay alive. Wither goes down. Suddenly, it's 3 players down for Jorvink now as well, but they've come back mid. It's a wipe. I think that's going to be it. Jorvik almost did it again.
They had a good chance. They definitely had a good chance. They were a wipeout in the last 10 seconds. Oh, that gotta sting. That's very much gotta sting. Cardinals take game number 3. And with that, they take the first point of this best of 5 set. Jorvik, almost another comeback at the very end. They have a strategy to play very aggressive at the very end. I think it's a little bit risky, but I also think it can definitely pay off big time if they get it right.
Yeah, it definitely can. And I mean, it really looked like they might just all of a sudden. Don't know what took them out, but 2 players for Solent Cardinals went down, and then a third did as well. But I think it may have just been too little too late. They tried to come back in, and I think whoever was still alive for Solent Cardinals was able to get 1 or 2 picks, which really helped them. And yeah, the wipeout with about 3 seconds left just kind of sealed the deal for Solent Cardinals to take the overall game 1 in this set. So yeah, they are now 1-0 up in the entire set. I think the first mode we're going to see out of ranked this week is tower control. So it will be Jorvik Ducklings picking the map for that one. Again, as I said, it's all counter picks except for the very first map that got played on Mahi, which we're seeing now. But yeah, I mean, it's a good sign. It's a pretty close mini set there, Turf War 2-1. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come, and it's not just a washout.
I'm hoping that too. I think the Jorvik definitely has a chance there. They still did very decent plays. They have some unique strategies, just to be sure. I do think, as much love to Flingza for Turf War, for the rank game mode, Charles, I like you, but it kind of gotta go. There are better missile weapons out there, unfortunately. But I think if they get a small change to their comp to make it a little bit more competitive, they definitely have a chance. One thing I think they need to do is a tactical cooler, especially for the ranked game modes. You can almost not go without one. It's just such a good, solid, reliable special, which helped the Cardinals a lot with their hyper aggressive pushes and also defensive moments when they were fighting against Jorvik pushing in. The tacticoolers helped a ton, especially in that England game at the end with the last 2 players, but they had a tacticooler online. So I think that's something Jorvik really needs to add to their team composition, whether it's by switching the Splatling, maybe getting it on the dualies. I don't know, and I don't really care how they do it, but I think that's almost a necessity.
Yeah, tacticooler is very much kind of a be-all, end-all special at the moment in this game. Some teams get away with it, but it requires a lot of coordination. And yeah, the same with the missile weapon. I think we mentioned it last week, but it can sometimes be a case of, are you comfortable playing that weapon, especially for the players that, you know, don't quite play this game to a really high competitive level, and they just want to play what they're comfortable with. And sometimes that's just better for the team rather than play a weapon that you don't really know how to play. It might be to your detriment instead. But tower control, we have picked a map here, and we're going with ship shape cargo, which is an interesting pick. It's definitely a map that I like on tower control. I know some people don't. It can be quite easy to kind of lock out the other team. Not so much on tower though. I feel like on tower control you do have quite a few different ways out of spawn, which is another reason why I don't mind it too much actually. Quite like this map.
I like the tower path is slower than you'd expect. It's still a bit of snowball heavy though. I'm not the greatest fan of this map personally playing it, but I like seeing it occasionally because it is one of those maps you rarely see in competitive play. Almost nobody ever picks this map, and every time I play Splatoon I feel like I never get this in rotation as well. So I like to pick. I hope it can work out for Jorvik, but yeah, I think they still have their challenges, especially in a lockout heavy map like tower or like ship shape cargo co, which on tower control it's not as bad, but it's still pretty rough. They should really make sure to spam their specials as much as they can, especially with specials like the missiles. We saw Charles still holding on to the missiles a little bit in the last game. I think stuff like that, they really should spam it. But I'm expecting some comp changes here for the ranked game modes. We are going to have to see what happens. We only saw Wither switching the weapon once on the side of the Cardinals, so I'm not expecting that much changes there. But let us find out, where we see the blue Dapples again and an E-leader coming out on the side of the Cardinals. And look at that, a custom range blaster, weapons all over the place. Still no tacticooler on the side of Jorving, opting not to go with that one is a bit of a surprise. But let's see if it can work out for them. I like seeing that E-leader on the Cardinals though. Especially in a long open map like this, it can be a huge advantage.
Yeah, me too. And I'm starting to think that might be Yoshel, considering they're playing E-League. We won't be able to confirm until we see the names. Maybe they have another Yoshi as well. But yeah, Yoshel, as I said, one of the backlines in the entire game right now, and they are very strong on the E-League tour. Pretty much any backline sniper you put it on. Mainly Pencil at the moment, of course, because everyone loves Pencil with its caller in comp. But we haven't seen a Pencil yet today, and let's see how long that holds out for. Jorving still not bringing the caller. I think we mentioned it might be beneficial for them, and Solent Cardinals still sticking with the heavy edit, which has been doing the job well so far. Jorving down to just the one player, and there is the wipeout for Solent Cardinals, and they have a good first chance to push up. And even though they have, they have the slowest backline in the game with Elita, along with Edit, which is pretty slow as well, kind of counteracted by the two really fast frontline weapons they have. They have Ink Brush, which can just easily run at the other team and cause a bunch of distractions. And the Dapples can basically do the same thing, except it's a little bit better at killing because you can just dodge roll and take them out very quickly, as we see with the reslide from Wither. Not quite able to get anything, but they've just gone behind them, and now they're just going to distract them, taking on Visor. But Visor gets a nice pick with the Ink Brush, and considering they had a wipeout there, I'd imagine they wanted more points from that.
I imagine too. 50 points is still a decent amount, but not that much from the wipeout, especially with how delayed the splats were. They really had to wait long before they respawn, so 50 is actually a bit of a disappointment for the Cardinals. They're on the tower again, and now even without a wipeout, they're quickly going towards that 50 mark and pushing it forward by a single point. Two players down instead of Jorving, though, allowing the Cardinals to push even further. We have that hammer online on the field, gets splatted after he throws it, does not connect, and that is big for Jorving because that hammer gone. They can push in safely. We see a Reefsider coming in, getting rid of Charles. Visor are going in, trying to get fight winner again, with another wipeout on the side of Jorving, and the Cardinals with the tower now very well positioned might score way more points here. Everyone with Jorving slowly respawning. Just E-leader on the side of S Cardinals got splatted. That might be decent. The heavy remix got splatted there as well. Two players down on the side of the Cardinals. Jorving can defend this one if they really, really want to. They opt to touch the tower to force it back. Dapple Productions go down as well. Jorving finally getting some splats on the board. It's something they desperately needed. The heavy on the side of the Cardinals being pushed back again. T-Cat now going in slowly, trying to get some splats, but now almost being surrounded, uses the Kraken as a form of survival. Can they at least get rid of one player with that? Go back! It's a very dangerous special. Everyone changing it now. They're still scoring some points, so decent Kraken nonetheless, because some points on the board are still good for Jorving. I think the speed is slowly going to go to an end here as they lost two players on that side. No! Three players down instead of Cardinals are combo. Jorving somehow still pulling through, which is an amazing push.
They are. It's a very staggered push. I mean, both teams at the moment just staggering, but it is kind of working out in Jorving's favor. They just need to avoid these snipe shots coming in on the tower because it's just Yoshel and the Brush right now. Charles is trying to pressure, almost gets a slap, but gets sniped instead, but they're pushing towards that lead. If they can keep this up, they have to deal with the Brush and the Dapples now, though. Both Wither and Spooks are trying to push in. They push it to 37. They're backing up, and now it's two down on either team. Yoshi, they've kind of had to reset here. It's just Yoshi on the ball point with Charles on the flings. They're coming in. Oh, the throw from the Ultra Stamp from Spookster, and that is huge, to be honest, because Yoshi was just trying to be an anchor for the rest of their team coming in. But it is pretty much a full reset at this point, and now the Tacticaller is out as well for Solent Cardinals. So even if they get splattered, they're going to be in very quickly. Really good attempt by Jorving, but they haven't got the lead.
They could taste that lead, I'm sure of it. I know this feeling all too well, but it's not over yet. They have 39 seconds to get another push going. They're on the tower, pushing it forward. They have to get rid of that E-leader as soon as they possibly can, though. Same with the splatling. Those are the two biggest threats for Jorving right now. We see Spookster trying to go flank the tower. Two players down on some of the Cardinals. Jorving, that's not that great. Kraken on the field trying to get the tower moving again. It's a tough job. T-Cat being surrounded by all players of the Cardinals, and they got splatted in the process. The tower is now reached, and they have 13 seconds to get on the tower and push it in overtime to a victory. 37-30. It's not undoable. It's going to be quite difficult. There goes Yoshi with the ball point, and that's going to be almost game. We see a Reefsider coming in as well to seal the deal. The Cardinals with a very strong game takes game number 2. But I don't think it's over Jervin yet though, because even if they didn't win, they still had a monster push. A very unexpected one, might I add, to 37. So I think that they're definitely going to keep the Cardinals at bay here. I don't think they're going to give them an easy time in any way, shape, or form.
No, it ended up being very close again, that one. Jorvink just refusing to go away. They're putting on a really good performance against some players who have a lot of competitive experience. Solent Cardinals quite often make the top cut in this thing. Jorvink, they won Division 2, I believe, in the spring one, which was the spring 2025. So that was the last kind of big tournament. I think they did enter the summer one as well, but the summer ones don't get quite as many teams because many players are away doing other things. So it's so this is another kind of full roster, full team count, 35 teams in this. And they're very much going to push for Division 1 this time. And to do that, they're going to have to beat teams like Solent Cardinals. They are 2-0 down, but yeah, it really doesn't feel like it's over yet. I mean, they're really pushing Solent Cardinals to their limit. Turf War, they managed to win one of the games in Turf War. That went all the way. And this one, they came within 7 points of getting the lead back. They are often on the back foot, but I feel like they just work their momentum really well. I mean, every time they kind of get a push going, it's very hard to stop them.
I agree with that one as well. I think that whenever they get on the tower or they get on the objective, they are stuck. They're glued on it. And I feel like the Cardinals are always just leaving a gap open for Jorvink to at least get one big push, and they always find their moment to get on the tower. I think, again, with just a small change to the team composition, getting a tactical cooler, it will do so much for them. I don't want to be like that meta play, like, oh, you have to use tactical cooler because it's just the best push in the game, but it kind of is the best special in the game. It does so much for you and your teammates. It's almost free. It's on some very strong weapons. We saw it, of course, on the pencil. We see it on the heavy edit. There's a lot more weapons. The new Range Blaster also has it. The new Rapid Blaster Pro. We already see a Range Blaster coming in from TCAT, so might as well play the Rapid Blaster Pro just for the tactical cooler. I think there's definitely some options that they can explore to get that special in the competition. It will do them a ton, I'm very sure. But overall, their team play is solid, and I think they're improving that team play game after game after game. They're not slacking, they're learning, they're doing better and better. I don't think it was a very dominant game by the Cardinals at all. I think every single time they were pushing, we did see that Jorvink had a response ready. It might have not been the best response, but they had a response nonetheless. So I'm excited what they will pick for the Splatstones map. So I have a slight feeling it might just be Hagelfish Market or Global Roaming.
Quite possibly. I think how many options are there? There's about 6 different maps they could pick. Splat Zones, probably I mean, there's no question really, it is the most popular competitive mode. Many people are familiar with it. Museum, Mahi, Makomar, Brine Water, Umami, and Urchin. There you go. Those are the options they have to start their potential comeback here in this set. They are 2-0 down against Solent Cardinals, trying to get something done here. I think someone had to restart their Switch before this game, so we're having to wait a little bit longer for this one to start. But that's all right. We're having a good time on this Monday night with another fun NSE stream. I really do like this competition. I started commentating it on the summer one, and I kind of paid attention to it before that, of course, because I'm a UK player and these are UK teams coming out. So, I really do like tournaments like this where you do kind of have a mix of casual and competitive players together. I've had experience with that as well, not in NSE but in other things, and it's a very different kind of way of thinking and a way of playing, for competitive players like me, because you have to consider things like, okay, these players should probably just use what they're comfortable with, which is something we've mentioned before. And how do I adapt to that? Do I change my weapon, or do I try and tell them how to play a certain way? It's just quite a unique thing from someone who normally you just play with comp players and everyone kind of is familiar with it. But yeah, that's why I like competitions like this. I think it's a new kind of dynamic for it.
Yeah, I feel like in that scenario, as a pro player or more competitive player, you should definitely adapt to your teammates, because whilst, I very much prefer to play the L3, for example. That's one of the weapons I've been primarily playing as Splatoon 2 and 3. When I was playing in a more casual, more local tournament this definitely was a couple of years back, my teammates, we were all just kind of randomly assigned to each other, and I didn't really have the luxury of playing the weapon I really wanted because, well, my teammates are primarily playing their front line because that's what they were comfortable with. So I was forced to play Rapid Blaster Pro just so we had a more backliney support weapon. It was definitely not my most comfortable pick, but with more game knowledge and definitely more skill with the motion control and with your movement, I think you should be the one to adapt. But in a scenario like this, which is even more specific because it's a healthy mix of casual and competitive players from both sides, then I think you should also play your best weapons. We saw it with Yoshell with the Charger. They're playing their absolute best. They're trying to absolutely win this with her as well with the Dapple dualies, always sticking to the core of their gameplay, trying to make the most out of it. So I think for that scenario, your teammates sort of have to adapt, or you're kind of forcing them to play the thing you want them to play, which can sometimes work out because they might discover something new. It sometimes won't work out because they don't really discover something new. Because I'm looking at the counter pick that's chosen, and we are going to go to Umami Ruins, which is not the map I actually expected. I was looking, like you said, there were only 6 or 7 maps they could choose from. I was actually looking at the selection, and even though I said Hagglefish, which I expected, fighting Yoshell, honestly, like a map like Urgent Underpass would have also been super good because then you have to zone in the ditch where the EDR can't really reach. But I think Umami Ruins also is a decent map. There's a giant hanging screen blocking that snipe from seeing the full center of the map. So I think they're trying to counterpick this one to be a bit more closed off.
Yeah, definitely. I don't actually think Hagglefish is in the map pool for Splat Zones actually for this one. I think we've seen it in Tower Control, but not Zones. Yeah, so definitely an interesting pick. I don't know if they were thinking about it, but of course Wither's been running the Reef-Slider Dapples for the majority of these games, and of course when you've got 2 zones, Reef-Slider's not going to just suddenly flip the control. That might be a consideration. Maybe some people just prefer this map, even regarding the fact that they're against a top tier Elita player on the other team. It is quite dangerous against Elitas and strong backlines here for that reason. It's very open, but we are going to get into Splat Zones. Jorving Ducklings 2-0 behind now. They have to win 3 games in a row. Solent Cardinals looking for a shutout here with a 3-0 victory, really to stamp their claim on reaching the top 8 in yet another season. And we are, well, okay, we're seeing some changes. We are seeing some changes. The Rapid Deco, the Inkjet one coming out from Wither, which I haven't seen them play before. Maybe they have. Yoshell's on the 52, so, I mean, they're not losing their aggro, I would say, just from the 52.
Interesting switch to be sure. No Tactical is still on the side of Jorving, opting to go without the biggest support special. Getting an early spell on Yoshell though, that's very good. Looking at the brush, getting rid of the brush, and now looking at Wither. Ticket going, can get rid of 2. Big triple in the beginning for the Jorving, and with that a delayed wipe on the board. They have found some new hidden strength. Another 2 splats coming in here, Colro. After they've been losing so many openings in a row, now they're absolutely destroying their opponents.
Okay, so I think TCAT got about 6 splats or assists in the first 30 seconds. I know you mentioned them switching to the Rapid Pro, but I was thinking TCAT, they've been getting picks, on the aggro blasters, and they've pretty much proved their point straight away into this one. What a start for Jorving Ducklings. Solent Cardinals have managed to get some picks here, so I think they're going to come back in with on the Rapid Deco. They have Inkjet ready to go when they want. They are from top mid, and there it goes. Yoshell supporting, probably going to push in now with the Inkjet. No, they're not going to if they get taken out by a bomb like that. Yoshi on the ball point, just trying to get these zones back. The timer is very slowly going down for Solent Cardinals. They haven't really been in control of both, and Yoshi, I thought they were going to get a pick there, but they get punished for dropping there in a 1v2, and Solent Cardinals starting to get the picks now. It's 2v2 at the moment, but that clock is ticking down. But again, TCAT just taking top mid, and the counter has stopped again.
This is what Jorvink is supposed to do. Stop the scout many times as they want. Capture the zone to apply penalty and get rid of their own. They're in control now. They did lose 2 players, Charles and T-Cat. That's going to be a little bit difficult, but they can definitely still do it. They have 2 big painting weapons on the field, and that Inkjet's going to make the life of the burst super difficult as they get splattered by that Inkjet. Visor now throwing some bombs, defending that area. T-Cat, we see them bowing in, and we know the Cardinals are scared of T-Cat now. The penalty for Jorvik is also over. This is humongous because that means he can score points again. T-Cat does go down without taking out a player. This is where the Cardinals can really push in. They got rid of one zone, they got rid of Yoshi. Now they're looking at the second zone. The brush goes down as well. That's a full team-wide quick work of the Jorvik players. Now it's their turn to attack once again. They have to get rid of the players of the Cardinals and fast because the penalty is already over.
It is. I've got to say, I love the amount of inkjets we're seeing in this match. Both teams have an inkjet on their team, and they're both making full use of it. It is such a fun special. The Ultra Stamp almost taking out Yoshi there on the ballpoint, but I mean, in the meantime, they've lost 2 players already, and Yoshi's pretty much the only one alive now, trying to get something going with the inkjet. They do get 2 splats with that. T-Cat's going to try and take advantage, but it's going to be difficult for them because they were almost wiped there. T-Cat trying to do some work though. They do again get a pick, and they've taken top mid, at least pushing back Stolen Cardinals players who are very close to a victory now. They've taken the lead at least, trying to hold on to the zones, making sure they don't get a penalty time, and they're doing a good job of it. T-Cat goes down again, and it's last-ditch effort now for Jorvik. They have to take both zones, otherwise they're going to be out of the set.
They have to do it fast though. 2 players down instead of the Cardinals will make it a lot easier. Make it effective 3 is just to brush alive there. Gets splattered as well. A full delayed wipe on the side of the Cardinals again. Jorvik got those zones instantly too, not messing around for a single second. Yoshi going and catching Charles off guard. They did survive with the help of their teammates though. Very good team play coming in from the Jorvik. Their penalty is almost over. Hammer going in though from the brush. Getting rid of the ballpoint. That is huge for the Cardinals because that allows them to push them deep. Jetpack coming out. Trying to get some more splats as well. Wither doing an absolutely amazing job getting rid of T-Cat there. That is another brilliant push from the Cardinals. Not yet fully controlling of the zones though. The Jorvik opted to go back and defend at their second zone, which is important because the penalty is super low already and they want to keep it as low as they possibly can. If not, continue to get rid of it. 2 zones almost completely painted. There it is. They're painting a zone again. 2 players down on the side of the Cardinals. And I don't know what's happening with the team again. But they seem to be losing every single fight. Are they getting too cocky? Are they just losing it because Jorvik has found something that the Cardinals didn't expect? I am not sure. But they're doing an amazing job right now. Not quite in contention for both zones. And losing 2 players there, they might just lose it. Wipe out again, Conro. But the Jorviks is really doing their best to stay in this fight.
They are. That couldn't have come at a worse time, that wipeout. Solent Cardinals just poking at the zone that's on their side, and Wither was able to get a pick on the brush with the deco, and then they all just played off that to push in, and it could well be game. It's just Charles on the flings there, and they have to basically solo this and paint both zones with 5 seconds left. It is just simply too much to do for Jorvik Ducklings at the end. Once again, a very close game. But again, Solent Cardinals just clutch up and get it done. And it is one of the closest 3-0s I think I've ever seen.
I'm going to agree with you there. And I think the Jorvik, they should be very, very proud of themselves. Even if they didn't win a single game here, we saw them improve game after game after game. They won the second turf war, but they haven't won a full point in the set. We saw them improve continuously, and I always thought they were going to win that Umami game. They were doing so well with a lot of early splats, a lot of mid-game splats too. They had that zone in control constantly, just one time, not long enough, which will cost you in Splatoon as much as you like capturing those zones. Maintaining it is the more important part. So unfortunately, the Jorvik has to accept this 3-0 right here. But they can take it as a learning experience for the next one because they did a very, very good job of improving themselves there.
Yeah, they did. It was a very entertaining set to watch despite the final score in that one. Solent Cardinals, solid stuff from them. You know, fair play. They got taken all the way, and I feel like in all of those games by Jorvik Ducklings, but they got it done every time. And that is a 3-0. I feel like they should be very happy with that score, considering how that set went overall. It was not a washout by any means if you watch the games individually. So yeah, well done, Silent Cardinals. Jorving Ducklings, they come away with this with 2 wins and 2 losses in overall Swiss. They can definitely still push for the top 8, and good luck to them doing that. And that is round 1 done here for week 2 of the NSE UK Splatoon University League. That was a mouthful. And I think we have a round 2 match lined up already. We will go to a quick break, but coming up is Tentacle Nuke Inkbound versus Anarchists. This should be good. These are the finalists from the summer tournament in last summer, the summer just gone, 2025. So that should be an exciting one for me and Hat to commentate for all of you. But yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be back real soon.
And welcome back to the NSE University League. My name is Het, still joined by Conroe, and we are about to go into round 2 of the NSE Winter 25. We saw a spectacular round 1 with a team going from, well, they might get absolutely dunked on to actually have a very good chance. So I'm very excited to see what round 2 will bring. We saw one of them last week on stream. One of them we have not seen yet. It is the Anarchists. That's a very mouthful. The Anarchists versus an actual mouthful team named the Tactical Nuke Inbound, which I mispronounced already because I'm so used to playing Call of Duty. It is a Tentacle Nuke Inbound against the Anarchists. So we saw Tentacle Nuke last week on stream. We did a very, very good job. I have not seen Anarchists yet. You might be able to tell them a little bit more about these players. I see some familiar names like Nebula and Snipes. So I have a slight feeling we're going a certain direction, but I'm not going to make any predictions. I'll leave that to you as the UK player. But I'm still excited to see this best of 5 go down again.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because Tentacle Nuke Inbound also have a few competitive names there. Jason Coda and Mr. Egg. I'm familiar with all of those for sure. Anarchist and Tentacle Nuke Inbound are the top 2 from the summer tournament that has just gone. Anarchists won it, and Tentacle Nuke Inbound was the team that they beat in the final. And yes, as you said, Snipes, Nebula, Tame, another one on Anarchist, who is more of a slightly newer player. Nebula, not quite playing the game as much. I'm not sure how much they'll be playing, but they're on the roster. They did play during the summer one. I remember seeing them there. And I will say they haven't lost it, even though they don't play the game much anymore. They've moved on to some other competitive games instead. But this should be a fun one. Anarchist versus Tentacle Nuke Inbound. So 3 teams currently in this competition have not lost a match. We're down to 3 teams that have gone undefeated, and none of them have even lost a game. Portsmouth Paladins is the other one. And these 2 teams are here. Just seeing the caster's notes, Anarchists are determined to break the Portsmouth monopoly, apparently. I would say both of these teams are, because neither of them are Portsmouth teams. Anarchists are Staffordshire, and Tentacle Nuke Inbound is Manchester. So they're both gonna be trying to do that here. So this should be an interesting game. We are seeing more competitive players this time around. Jason being kind of the leader for Tentacle Nuke Inbound. They are the captain. They've had probably the most competitive experience out of any of them. And they're very coordinated, I will say, Tentacle Nuke Inbound. Whenever I watch them, they are very coordinated as a team. But let's see what happens in game 1. We're not seeing Mahi Resort in the first turf war game for once. It is a different one.
Yeah, I was very confused. Like, isn't it supposed to be My Resort? Or is Inkblot Arcade in the new standard and we just kind of agreed upon that? But I will not challenge it. I will be very happy that we see a different starting map. I definitely think it's less interesting, but we'll have to see. Looking at the team compositions, I love Tentacle Nuke. It is Tentacle Nuke. We saw it last week too with that the new Rapid Pro Freeze, the Decaf, and of course the Reflux. Anarchists, though, they are taking the classic approach. Pencil, Stamper, and a 52 gal. You can't go wrong with Ye All Reliable. Let's see how these 2 different comps are going to take it off. Turn 4 heavy against the meta competitive. I love seeing what I'm already seeing. Big Tacticooler coming out early for the Tentacle Nukes. They're definitely going to need that if they want to survive the push to the Anarchist camp through it in the top.
Yeah, we're already seeing a bit more conventional weapon picks here. We're seeing a tactical on both teams, one with the pencil and another one with the new Rapid Blaster Pro. Rhythm, how are they living that long? I had no idea. The last one alive for their team, they lived for so long there. But yeah, the player they're called Mesmerizer on your screen, that is Snipes. We saw one of the best backlines in the game last match, and we're seeing another one here because Snipes is quite well known. They are really good, not just UK, but anywhere, really good on backline, and that's going to be a big problem for Tentacle Nuke Inbound to deal with. But it's a very close game. I mean, Tentacle Nuke Inbound kind of got control of mid. 3 players just went down at exactly the same time across both teams. I don't really know what happened there, but it's very cagey, and already we're seeing a much closer game.
This is what I love to see in Splatoon. Big ball back and forth battles. These 2 teams, like I said, have not dropped a single game in the first rounds. Yes, so this is a battle of the Titans here on stream. 2 huge splats coming in from Snipes, looking at the 3rd, gets the 3rd as well. Now looking at the 4, get the 2. Snipe is not standing still. They are pushing forward like this is Octofest, like this is Inkstorm, like this is 20XX. Wherever they go, they will dominate. 1 minute left for these two titans of teams here, and I cannot determine if anyone is very much dominating this round.
Wow, it's not every day you see a sniper writer get that kind of kill streak. It's obviously not a bad weapon, but killing is normally not what it is doing. But snipes, as I said, one of the best backlines for a reason, and they proved it right there. 30 seconds left. Anarchist still very much in control. We see Tame on the 52 gal. They are very strong with that weapon. They are quite a good aggressive frontline player Tame, and they're going to do it with 20 seconds left, deciding not to sit back. They are going to go for more picks on their side. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound trying to come back in. Rhythm just covering up the left side, and out comes the BR Bomb. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound just losing too many players right now. Tame goes down as well, though, and Egg suddenly back in with the reflux. I mean, it's going to be a lot of pain, and suddenly Anarchists are just losing players here right at the end. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound may have given themselves enough time.
Ooh, that pain at the end made me curious. Looking at the amount of purple on the map, yeah, I think I already made a decision. And Tentacle Nuke with 10 seconds left on the clock somehow made it from losing to winning. This is what happens when you let proper competitive players play Turf War.
Wow, yeah, that was extremely competitive from start to finish, and very much a turf war kind of end where it looked like Anarchists were going to do it, but they suddenly lost a couple of players. I think a couple of Tentacle Nuke Inkbound players. Mr. Egg definitely did. Maybe someone else. They quite wisely flanked at the end. They kind of, from spawn, they went around the left side from that map, which you can do, and it kind of caught Anarchists off guard, and they just were able to get the picks they needed with enough time to paint. I mean, the reflux, Egg on the reflux, it just paints a ridiculous amount. So even though there wasn't much time left on the clock, it was enough time for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to do what they needed to do. So they do take the first Turf War game here, one step away from winning game one in the entire set. Of course, Turf War is a mini set. I did hear that one of the teams, for game one of the teams chosen at random chooses the first map we see in the Turf War set, and it's just a coincidence that we normally see Mahi. They all seem to really like Mahi Resort, but it's not set in stone. Yeah, just one random team does pick the map. So basically every single game in a set is picked by one of the teams. The first one chosen by a random one, and then the rest are counter picks. And Anarchists have picked Robo Ramen, which I absolutely understand with the comp they're running.
I don't think there's any other map they should have chosen here at this moment, not especially when the fact that Tentacle Nuke has the advantage in this mini set. We don't see a single change on that side, and why would you? That comp is strong as hell. There's no reason to change it. Tentacle Nuke, Anarchists did make a small adjustment, though. They got a Spatana Wiper. Not as common, but it's still a very, very strong weapon. I don't think it's as good as Stamper, but it has its niches here on maps like this. Early spat coming in from Tame, looking at the second one, gets second one too. That's two players down on the side of Tentacle Nuke, and this is where they can go in early with the tri-strike and get a lot of paint on the board. Tactical comes out as well to support that team pushing forward. They have to keep Tentacle Nuke at bay in their spawner if they want to have a chance at keeping the middle of the map.
Yeah, definitely. Again, it's Anarchists that are taking more control. Snipes trying to set up on that wall, which is absolutely what they need to do, because the other team doesn't really have too much that can challenge them. They do have a rapid probe, but the pencil can ultimately outrange that, so they're going to be very difficult to deal with. They had to step off a little bit there. Rhythm gets taken out, Egg gets taken out as well. We see some spats coming out on both sides, but it is still advantage to the Anarchists. It's just Carp on the decav. They get punished. Oh, the splashdown super jump, trying to get something, but they're going to get punished. They may have seen that coming. And sadly, the Nautilus doesn't really have much to defend itself once you attempt that, if you're not able to get anything for it. But Egg, on the reflux, nice pick on Tame with a direct from the reflux, and all of a sudden, it may switch the other way because they have two picks, and that is all they need. Snipes is just trying to hold ground as an anchor here on the snipe point of the map, coincidentally enough. They're just trying to get a pick on the pencil, which they can definitely do. We saw that last time. Trade coming out between Egg and Tame once again, fighting each other quite a lot already. A bit of a player rivalry brewing there early on this one.
I'm looking at what the players are doing right now, and they're playing it a lot slower than they were playing the first game. I don't think the players are playing as aggressive. And a map like Royal Rumble, it makes sense. The map is huge, tons of flag rounds. You don't want to go in blindly and just praying that there is nobody there. 2 players down on the side of the Anarchists will allow the Tentacle Nuke to push in further and get control of the center again. That's what they've been aiming about. This is very much important for Turf War. To push your momentum forward, you have to get control of the center of the map, because from there you can go anywhere you want to. 3 players down on the side of the Tentacle Nuke, and the timing could not be worse. There lost their 4th player, effective or delayed wipeout. And now they have to push in deep, and they have to push in fast with only 30 seconds remaining. It's going to be super difficult. They don't have a special on the board ready. We see the Thrasher coming out from Anarchist. We see that they have the Killable at ready. We see that they just used the Tentacle, the Big Bubbler coming out as well. Every single special on both sides are out on the field. It's an absolute slaughterhouse of specials on the field, but only the 52 has fallen with all the chaos. There goes the decaf. There goes 3 players on the side of Tentacle Nuke. And with a couple seconds remaining, I don't see this going in any way, shape, or form in the way of the Tentacle Nuke. So I'm fairly confident we can say that it is Anarchists who take game number 2.
Yeah, definitely is. No question about it. Once again, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound doing almost what they did in game 1, getting a couple of picks at a crucial time. But crucially, Anarchists didn't lose all of their players there. They got just the most important picks they needed. I'm not sure. I didn't quite see at the end. I don't know if Tentacle Nuke Inkbound were able to take out Snipes. Probably not. I'm just going to assume not. Snipes was quite wisely they were just hanging around too far back for a lot of that game for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to punish. They were hanging around. I think that was the main reason for that map pick, to be honest, because Snipes would just have the perfect place to sit with the Snipe Writer, and they basically did it for the entire game. Whenever Anarchists lost 1 or 2 players, Snipes would just immediately retreat to that spot. And I say retreat, it's not really that far back. They can still cover the entirety of mid. They can punish anyone on the other team that steps into their crosshair, as we saw in game 1 as well. So very wise pick from Anarchists for that map. They're not going to get to pick map 3 of the Turf War mini set, and this is the important one. They've both won a turf game here, so whoever wins this one will take game 1 in the entire set.
I think they have to make a very calculated decision. Mai is still on the table, so maybe Mai Resort might be a very funny pick. Mako Mart also still on the table, so 2 or more combo maps are still out there. The Marlin Airport, if they want to be really funny, that would be a good pick, I think. Especially for us to watch. I don't think, as a competitive standpoint, it would make any sense to pick Airport. For both teams, it is very underwhelming. It's not that great. It's very oddly shaped as well. I think every time I play on it, it just feels so wrong. I don't know. The map does not feel right to me, so that might not be the map to pick. We're still waiting on them to get a counter pick in, but I like the level of play that we have in this set. Well, usually it's a very much mix between competitive and casual play. Here, this is a full-on competitive Splatoon set. Yeah,
it's very good. I do like what we're seeing here. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have been showing that coordination that I mentioned at the start, and I believe it's kind of common for them to rotate players around quite a lot. I mentioned Jason being the kind of most known competitive player. There are a few on this team, of course, but I believe Jason just doesn't play Turf War. I think it's just it's just how they're set up. Jason will probably come in for the ranked modes, assuming they are around today at all. So we'll definitely see that soon. They have picked Mahi Resort. We are still going to see Mahi Resort. Everyone loves this one. In
Mahi curse lives on.
Yeah, it does. Curse or blessing. It depends on how you see this map in Turf War, I suppose. But yeah, I think, something I thought they may be thinking about is like, how do we deal with Snipes on the pencil? How do we force them to sit somewhere where we might actually be able to punish them? Are there any maps that allow us to do that? And to be honest, they didn't really have many options. I feel Mako Mart was there, but again, it's quite a sniper-friendly map. I think this map is as well. They did have Humpback, but Humpback is a very volatile map. It might backfire. So, we do see this map quite a lot. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound might have a plan. This is their counter pick after all. And we are going to go into Game 3 of the Turf War mini set at the start of this match between the top 2 teams from the summer tournament. Snipes, Rhythm, Tame, and Anarchy again on Anarchists, and Egg 1496, Zaid, and Carp on the other. Are we going to see any changes? Yes, we are. Rhythm is bringing out the slosher. The first time we're seeing a slosher today. You love to see it. Well, I love to see it, at least, because it is my main weapon. And Tentacle Nuke Inkbound not changing too much. They are comfortable with their picks. So let's see how game 3 goes.
Excited to see Topher here. You were talking about keeping Snipes at bay, but with a pencil, that's honestly in this platoon, that's straight up not possible. You're not going to find a way. Might be the best option indeed, but it's still a very tough battle, especially when the map opens up. Suddenly you are constantly in the open fighting for your own survival. But right now, Tentacle Nuke, it looks like this pick is working. They are slowly making quick work of the center of the map. Strife Strike coming out, making the life a little bit more difficult. We see the decaf going down without a tactical on the field. So is the Rapid Pro, and the Notch is getting splattered as well. And suddenly, Tentacle Nuke went from dominating on the map to being shredded to pieces and made tentacle rings from. They are quickly respawning though. They're not going to give up. They're not going to lose this without a fight. 2 minutes remaining on the clock, and neither team has very much made a major move. 3 players down on the side of Tentacle Nukes though, and with a wipeout there, it are the Anarchists taking a big first team fight win and are now pushing in the base of Tentacle Nuke.
Well, that is certainly not where you want Snipes. They are more on the Tentacle Nuke's side of the map right now, and the strikes coming out as well. Snipes does eventually have to back off, but they're just not going to get punished too hard because they are able to back off. And again, 2 players down for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. They're really struggling to get back in the game. They do manage to take out Tame and then the Slosher, but Tame, I mean, they're so aggressive on the Gal anyway. They will probably call it as well. I mean, we can see they've already jumped back in. They are already, again, just holding forward on Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. That is what Tame does on the 52. It can work against them sometimes when they go in too much and kind of feed at a bad time, which I think happened in game 1. But when it works, and it's very difficult for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to deal with. And Snipes again set up I mean, they're only on the middle of the map. They're not really protected on the ground, but they know how to space themselves perfectly with the Sniper. And honestly, I'm not sure when was the last time Snipes got taken out. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know.
I don't think they even got taken out of this game to begin with. That they've been just jumping back or moving themselves back every time they got into a little bit of trouble. Maybe the Rapid Pro finds something about it, but I think even as a Rapid Pro, you don't really want to find a pencil. Big hit on Snipes, and there they go down finally on the stream. It can happen, but they had Tacticular online. I see how quickly they respawn the Anarchists. And Tentacle Nuke very 50-50 on the map. There goes the missiles out. 3 players targeted. That is a huge missile, especially at this later stage. 10 seconds left. The reflux does go down. There's a lot of pain potential for Tentacle Nuke gone. But they still have the majority of players online on the field. And as we see, everyone painting as much as they can. 3 players do fall for the Anarchists. And it's very difficult to say from the view we had who will win. Lots of tiny spots for the Anarchists, but overall more orange as the Tentacle Nukes take game number 3 in the turf war set, allowing them to take game 1 in the best of 5. But again, keeping it to the last couple seconds to secure that win. Peak turf war here.
Peak turf war for sure. I feel like that was a little bit too close back and forth for peak turf war. I feel like peak turf war is when one team is just getting absolutely dominated for 2 minutes and 40
competitive
seconds.
turf war.
Yeah. But yeah, really good showing from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, showing that coordination that I kind of know them for. Snipes got taken out twice in the last 30 seconds, and I think that may have been the game plan. Egg using their missiles with about 15 seconds left, making sure they target Snipes. They targeted 3 of them, but Snipes especially, because they have to move. If they have the missiles on them, they can't do what the Snipe Fighter is best at, just standing there and painting a whole lot of the map. And I think another player pushed up and punished them as well. Tame doing their best at the end. They did take out Egg as soon as those missiles came out, but it wasn't enough for Anarchist to get it done. So yeah, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound taking game 1. As I've said, they are looking for a bit of revenge against Anarchist. They did lose the grand final against them over the summer, and these 2 are probably going to, they're going to look to be there again this season in the bigger season with 35 teams this winter. But yeah, already we're seeing a very close set. I mean, 2-1 in Turf War, same as we saw in round 1 today. So I'm expecting, you know, more close ranked games as we saw in round 1 as well.
I think the ranked games are going to be a lot more crazy than the Turf War games, especially because sometimes competitive players get a bit bored of Turf War, so they start not playing as good as they usually do. But I feel like in a ranked game mode, it just feels like there's more at stake, and it feels like you're playing for more. So I think we're going to see the best of these players with, like you said, back and forth battling indeed. And I think anarchists, they might want to take their revenge, or so Tentacle Noob might want to take their revenge against the anarchists. I'm pretty sure they do want to get a big old 3-0 on this one. Would be very nice, especially for the points. And I think if the teams who haven't lost a single match suddenly lose 3-0 to one another, that's kind of gotta hurt for the team who also did not lose anything before that. So I'm sort of hoping that Tentacle Nuke might pull this off, but I think anarchists are going to make this very, very difficult. I don't think we're going to get the 3-1. It's gonna be a tough shot, a long shot for Tentacle Nuke, but it's also not impossible. It really depends on the map that anarchists are going to throw at Amir and tower control. And talking about tower control, actually, Snipes on tower control might actually be a very, very dangerous player on that mode specifically.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we are going to see Hagglefish Market tower control here. I think we don't quite have a full lobby yet. I think we are waiting for someone to get in the room. I don't know if that's a sub or just the same player. I don't think Jason has come in. Jason may be sitting out again for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound for now, unless they're just one of the players that are playing and the name is different. I can't quite say. But yeah, we are going to see Hagglefish Market for game 2. Yeah, tower control and anarchists did pick this one, of course. So yeah, they probably have some kind of plan coming up between Snipes on the backline and Tame on the front line. They have 2 really important roles just locked in there. Hagglefish can be a good map for, you know, momentum pushes. If someone can jump up on the top right side and get past that second checkpoint, it is really all about that second checkpoint on this map. It's a bit of a choke for the attacking team. They really have to establish positions in front of the tower. There is an elevated platform under the roof, under a canopy. You really need a player to get up there and make sure the defending team can't get up there at all. If you can do that, you're probably fine, and you're probably going to get a lot of points. We do have a full lobby now. I think it is actually the same players. I don't think we've seen any roster changes at all this time, which is quite unique, I think, for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, the amount of times I see their roster changing. But I mean, they won the Turf War set, so why change anything?
No, I think, especially right now with the opponent you're fighting against, you should not go and change it. That would be it would be risky, especially because these players are now warmed up against the players they're fighting, especially like Tame and Snipe. They're warmed up, they're ready, they have chosen their weapons, they have fought them before, they know what surprises they can throw at them. So switching it up now, even if you get it from your teammates, it's still making it difficult for them because you have to warm them up and get them ready. We are going to go almost into our next game. I think something went wrong because we're not switching the views. There we go! Tower control on the Hagglefish Market. Some checkpoints which may cause some difficulties for these teams. If I looked right, I saw Snipe switching off the sniper and going to a Rapid Blaster Pro Freeze, going to get the Tentacular from that weapon. Blaster a little bit more reliable than Charger. Someone already got splattered. No, unfortunately we got a disconnect very early on. I was like, how did you get splattered this early? I didn't see you go in front. And honestly, Comro, there is the old saying that it would not be a Splatoon tournament without a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah, we had a few last week, I remember as well. Some both at unfortunate times, I think, because I think the DCs happened after they were able to restart the game, which was very unlucky because I think the games in question were close. I guess thankfully this time it happened at the start, so we will get a replay on this one. Yeah, there weren't any roster changes. I think it was a connection issue that someone left before that game in the first place. Yeah, I can confirm Jason just isn't playing today. Whether they would have swapped, I'm not sure. But this is the roster for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound for this week. And I mean, that just goes to show, because I keep mentioning Jason, and they're still winning. They're still winning without him. So it just goes to show that the rest of the team does know what they're doing. They're very coordinated, and they're 1-0 up against the winners from the summer. So yeah, I think everyone's pretty much ready. That we should just be taking all the weapon selects and getting straight back into the game for game 2. And what did you say Snipes was playing? I didn't actually catch that. They're off the back line, are they?
It was the Rapid Pro, the new one with the
Okay.
tactical. It does make sense. So if you're gonna switch to anything else as a pencil player, I think the Rapid Pro is the most obvious pick, even more so than the bows or specialist battlings. I think the Rapid Pro just offers so much utility in combination with the movement that it's hard to say no against that one. So it does make sense for Snipes to pick it here in a map where mobility is key. A bit of surprise though, because the pencil did work out for them greatly in the first couple games. So it's a bit of an odd one, but maybe to help their teammates a little bit more stay in the fight that much more often, be fighting on the front lines is still very important on tower control. So I do see the switch. We also see a Dreadwinger coming out on the side of Egg, but the rest stays very much the same. So minor switches on the side of the Tactical Nuke, a big switch on the side of the Anarchist. Let's see if those switches will pay off here on tower control.
Yeah, and Egg, the Dreadwinger is one of their favorite weapons. I know that for a fact. And they went very aggressive with that Reef Slide. They didn't really have any help from the team. They were just going in and hoping for something. But Anarchists know better than that. If you use Reef Slide at the wrong time, you are going to get punished. And the Dread can't really fend for itself after a Reef Slide if it goes wrong. And Anarchy, with a couple of picks for the Anarchists with the Zuka, and that is going to open the way for them to push this tower onward towards that second checkpoint, which is close to this roof area. Egg trying to redeem themselves, and they're doing a good job of it. They've got a couple of picks there, could get another one. The reslide doesn't come out, they get punished beforehand. And suddenly it's turned around again. Snipes is really going aggressive with the Rapid Pro against the other Rapid Pro. They knew that Rapid Pro was the only one alive for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, and they take full advantage of that. So the push has not been stopped despite some picks from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. Oh, what just happened? What just happened?
Big suction bomb on the side of Tentacle Nuke, stopping the tower dead in its tracks. And they need to get something done here because they already suffered 2 wipeouts, 2 times the triple player down. They've scored really a couple points. They only scored at the 97, but they didn't do anything else. They didn't even move the tower off the mid platform. They have to do something quickly. 2 minutes already elapsed, and there's not a single thing that Tentacle Nuke has to show for themselves. They're pushing the tower now. Big bubbler coming out from the decaf, trying to get some players off the board here from Anarchist. They got 1, they got 2, and they got a full wipeout there. Big moment. They can get the checkpoint almost for free the second that the touch it though. Anarchist will respawn, and they can have a shot at defending a checkpoint. There are 3 players on the tower currently pushing that checkpoint towards capture, and there it is. They're past checkpoint 1. And that is a big moment because they're now scorching towards that lead. 43 to score to beat. And they're at 45. They can get it. 2 players down though. Difficult, but not possible, or still possible. They got rid of Rhythm. Carp now struggling, fighting Snipes as a blaster. You kinda gotta jump out, especially Killable there as well. A push dead in its track, but still 45 to 43. Big Reef Slider coming out from Egg. And now that fight went from dead to back in control, back alive it is. 2 players down again for the Anarchist. Tentacle Nuke doing everything they can and showing how Anarchist treated them earlier. Give them a taste of their own medicine whilst they are roaring towards that lead. And we're looking at it right now. 43 to 43, just 1 more tick. We see Egg going on the tower. Can they stand something off? Yes, they can stand on it long enough here, Conroe, as Tentacle Nukes are now your game's leaders.
They are. Egg was able to get it done. They now have a shield on the tower. That was a really important pick on that decaf though. They set the bubble up, but they're not going to get anything for it because they got taken out before the bubble shield actually came out. But they're still pushing. Rapid, the Snipes on the Rapid trying to, the Snipes, they are the Snipes. I mean, they are them, and they're keeping Anarchists in the game right now. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound able to get the lead. Mr. Egg, I mean, I mentioned their first Reef Slide not being great, but every single Reef Slide since then has been huge for the team. It's been very coordinated, using it in the team fights just to devastate Anarchists. And Snipes is trying to take an aggressive position on this Rapid Pro from the side, and they are drawing the attention of pretty much everyone on Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. And even though they got splattered, I think that was very much worth it because 3 players went down for Tentacle Nuke there. 1496 on the Naught trying to keep them back. They are the only one alive. They were the only one that lived that, I should say. And they get a really important pick there on Anarchist, trying to get a second one. They're just trying to stop these players from coming up. But Anarchist are going to have to take control of that roof area if they're going to take the lead here. It is going to be the real sticking point here. Rhythm gets hard punished for the super jump. They were desperate to keep that push going, but it is Tentacle Nuke Inkbound with the lead only by 3 points. There's only 30 seconds left. Anarchist could well do it if they get a strong push going, but really good coordination again from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. They'll probably know how to close this game out as well. Not that they have any specials that can really just, clear tower into overtime, but they're not going to need it. They are not going to need it. Egg is on fire with the Dreadringer. You love to see it. Double with the Reef Slide and a third on the follow-up as well. And it's desperate times for Anarchists now.
Desperate times indeed. They have to touch that tower in overtime. Messi Snipes going on it, but not in time. And even if there wasn't time, Suction Bomb, splashdown, that was a game over. It was only 3 points, but even a single point is enough. 57 to 60. It does not matter as long as you hold that lead. You hold the victory, and we see it here with Tentacle Nuke taking game number 2, setting themselves up already for match point status. Looking at the 3-0. Oh, how tasty. Oh, how lovely it might just be. Another counter pick coming in for the Anarchists, as they can choose the Splat Zones map to be on. But these two teams fighting for those points here. Both teams actually had a very dominant way of pushing through. When we Anarchists first were on the tower, they had wipeouts, triple splats, double splats, all the lot. So many players are down inside of Tentacle Nuke, and it felt like there was nothing they could do. But Tentacle Nuke then suddenly returned it with the same strategy, the same amount of splats, the same amount of specials out on the board. It was really back and forth, but either team only really had one big push for the lead. Tentacle Nuke had one attempt and then a very, very big one. And Anarchist only had one major push, but neither team really pushed a lot. It was a lovely back and forth battle, and this is how I love to see Splatoon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a push of 60 points, pushing it down to 40. For Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, they were just able to do it once, and again, eventually, as soon as they took control of top right, I think it was Egg on the Dread, just able to get those sloshes up there. Dreadringer, it's been a little bit all over the place in comp, but I think it's found its place now. People do like this thing, including me as well. I've been using Dread for a really long time. I do think it's good. I think Reef Slide is better than a lot of people kind of think as well, and that might be a real kind of thinking point for Anarchists with this counter pick. In fact, we can already see it, and that might be a big reason why, because they probably know that Egg likes the Dreadringer. Reef Slide can flip the zone very quickly, and you can't do it when there's two zones. Reef Slide is only going to do so much, and of course Snipes, again, on whatever backline weapon they're going to pick, is going to have a decent time here, because Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, I think they just have a rapid pro. They know they do. So Snipes probably is going to have a better time here. And I mean, once again, it's 2-0 to a team. We saw round 1 was 3-0, but every single game has been close. I kind of hate to see another 3-0, considering how close this has been. But Anarchists do have to reverse sweep now to give Tentacle Nuke Inkbound their first loss of the season. One of these two teams is going to carry on with a 100% record, and if Tentacle Nuke Inkbound get this done, they still wouldn't have dropped a game. But as we go into this one, Snipes is sticking on the Rapid Pro for both teams. Not many changes. Rhythm on the Wiper, the one with Ultra Stamp. So that is an interesting pick. Let's see how it works for them.
Not making any changes. I don't think the teams changed at all. 2 players, 3 players down instead of Tentacle Nuke. Anarchist taking the first sweep in this game yet again. A little bit slow in capturing the second zone though, but there it is. Everyone from the Tentacle Nuke is slowly respawning and getting back into battle. The 52 does go down for the Anarchist, and this is a very strong opening for the Anarchist, even with the loss of 52 there. They have the early control of the zones. They got rid of some of the specials of the Tentacle Nukes, but don't say that too quickly, because the Tentacle Nukes retaliate with a wipeout. They don't waste a single second after they have been splattered. They go right back in and secure those zones here, Condro, as we now see a beautiful defense coming in from the Tentacle Nuke. But what a comeback there after that wipeout.
Yeah, already we've seen both teams take initiative. Anarchist getting the first wipe, but then Tentacle Nuke pretty much just counter pushing, coming back in themselves, and they are maintaining control here. They are getting all the picks they need. Egg with a reef slide, not getting anything, but they're able to set up. Having said that, Tame comes in and punishes that quickly enough. 1496 on the Naught, just trying to maintain for as much as they can. They are on the back foot now, but they're going to try and hold out for as long as they can. Rhythm on the Ultra Stamp, almost getting splattered, but not quite. The throw gets one, and they could get a second, and they do two splats with the Wiper, and it is now a wipe out. Tame already set up on the other side. Snipes with a very well-timed cooler. Oh, Tame gets hit twice by the Dread and goes straight into a suction bomb. They've lost two. They do have Tactical online. What happened? What just happened? 3 players down for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound.
So lost 3, but so did... No, was it Tentacle Nuke? Lost
it was, but then it was the other
Tentacle Nuke again. It was again, what is going on here? They're going right and left and right. The Anarchists are slowly making their way towards that lead. 34-29. They can taste it, they can smash it, but no, Tentacle Nuke captures that zone and applies penalty, even if they start losing it here. The penalty is humongous achievement for them. 35 ticks of breathing room is what you want. Only the Nautilus alive for the Tentacle Nukes right now in the middle of the map, trying to get rid of Rhythm. Doesn't with the special, does with the main weapon though. Very, very good team coordination from Tentacle Nukes. They are returning towards the battlefield, capturing the zones in the process and holding back the Anarchists. They are still in control of this game. They did not lose the lead, and that's very important for them right now. Because it allows them to build special on the defense here and allows them to hold the Anarchists back in the spawn where they want them to. And even if they lose this fight, they still have some breathing room. They always go to their penalty. It's 2 ticks remaining when the Anarchists said, no, it's enough to neutralize the zone. 2 players down on the side of Tentacle Nuke. They're looking at the 3rd player down, but no! They do survive. Carp alive, and well, they did lose the zones though, but not the players. They didn't score a pointer anyway, just a lot of penalty gone. Big splat against the hammer from that decaf. Even if it was a trade, getting rid of the hammer is a big, big achievement for the Tentacle Nuke because it allows them to go back in as we see them right here. Anarchists have to find a way to set up here, Conroe, because if they don't, it might spell trouble for them.
Yeah, they do need to find a way to set up. That was wonderful work from the decaf. They were pretty much the last one alive on their team, and they pretty much got 3 splats before getting taken out themselves. So yeah, really good stuff from everyone on Tentacle Nuke Inkbound to keep this one going. Anarchists, really, they have it all to do because they are against, you know, they are Dread with Reef Slide. Even though it can't cap both zones, it's still such a difficult special to play against when you're defending zones and you're looking for that lead. You are behind in the game. They are able to set up for now, though. Sniped again, top mid. The Naught is just too far away for the splash damage from the Rapid Pro. They need a pick, and they do take out the Dread. That is huge. They take out 2. It is only 2 alive, and it's the 2 slowest weapons on the team, the Rapid Pro and the Naught. Rhythm pushing up for another one. They get punished, but they did have Caller, so why not go for it? And that is going to be the lead at a crucial point for Anarchist, trying to keep this set going. They have to win 3 games in a row. Reverse sweep to take this. Egg able to sneak in on the right and get a pick with 1496 closely followed behind them. They are able to establish some semblance of control. Some players are a bit everywhere right now. Tame still on the other side, but it is still Anarchist that are losing players here. Sorry, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound that are losing players here. Tame doing so much work on Anarchist, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound side. Sorry, I keep getting the team names mixed up here. But Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are on the back foot and they are behind.
This is a very difficult push as well because they only have 17 seconds left, so they have to push in overtime. Losing 2 players now is not what you want to do. Carp gets a big spot on Aniki though. Looking now at Tame, they have to get rid of them too. They're not like maintain control of the zone. They have 1 in their control. We can need both to start pushing for points and going to the second zone trying to paint it. They do capture it and start the overtime countdown, but will it be enough? They have to maintain the control of the map here. They got rid of the splatter shot, which is nice, but it's not enough. The zones are being faded left and right, but it is still in control of Tentacle Nuke as long as they can be in this position. They can win. That penalty is only 11 ticks remaining. They got rid of the Rapid. That is good. Getting rid of the Tactical on the opponent's side is what you want, is what you need. Only 9 ticks remaining. 3 players alive on both sides of the field. They're trading players left and right. It's a big blow coming from the Anarchists though. Despite the switching around, they have to get control quickly. Tentacle Nuke still in control. Reset the overtime drop. Will it be enough? No, the zone is neutralized again. The Anarchists are doing everything to maintain it. So does Tentacle Nuke with a wipeout at the end will seal that deal. And I don't think I have seen an overtime that long in splat zones before. That was so tense towards both teams, giving it their full on the zones, but only one will suffice. And with a nice unexpected push and a very, very rough overtime defense. It is the Anarchists who take game number 3. And that does mean that neither team will be undefeated in the NSE. They did at least take 1 L, which is unfortunate for the Tactical Nuke, but a huge moment for Anarchists because they're still in the set and they can still win. Usually game number 3 in a reverse sweep does spell out a lot in a tournament set, and I think the next one is going to be an absolute masterpiece. But what a defense from the Anarchists. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yes, we can. I mean, that is one of the craziest overtimes I have ever seen in a Splat Zones game. The game in general. I mean, how did both teams manage to keep that going for so long? At one point it looked like Tentacle Nuke Inkbound were going to do it, but then Anarchists just get like 1 or 2 important picks, and it was just back and forth. I mean, I'm quite glad I'm a neutral party in this one, because if I was supporting either of these two teams, I don't think I could handle that.
Yeah.
Egg coming back in with a reef slide. At one point it looked like they were going to close it, but Anarchists just, I think they were just holding firm, making sure Tentacle Nuke Inkbound never had control of both zones to push down the penalty time, and they just chose the right moment once everyone was there to kind of push up a little bit more and actually get the picks, because I think they were struggling a bit for paint against, a Dread, which can do so much by itself. Egg normally gets at least 2,000 points a game for paint, and when Snipes is off the pencil, Rapid Pro, of course, they're really good on Rapid Pro as well, but you do lose a lot of paint for that. So I think they realized, we've got to get the picks here if we want them to not claim both zones for a long enough time to win the game.
I think there's also a bit of the magic of the dual zones, is the fact that it's so difficult and you can't really use a single special to capture both of them in overtime. There's always this fight for the second zone. As a team like Tentacle Nuke, you can opt to defend one of the zones with your life, so you can at least extend the overtime if you get a splat. Well, we were talking about the last game. The next map has been chosen already. These teams are fast with their counter picks. Rainmaker, Humpback, Pump Track, and left side, where you see few pushes, but they're incredibly fast, and the right side more common, a little bit safer, but definitely more contested as well. Let's see if see any major team changes, and yes, we do. That's the Bow Ice names I will always forget because you never see it online, but that's a very unique pick from Snipes. They are having some strategy that I cannot comprehend, and they keep switching to the NZAP from the special shot to help them and still maintain the tactical on the field. But a very interesting pick coming out from Snipes here.
Yeah, I mean, Snipes, I've definitely seen them play that bow before in Rainmaker. And pretty much, we saw right at the start why it's the Wellstring. I had to think about the name there as well. But, I mean, we're already seeing it. They have a white Tentacle Nuke Inkbound trying to get an early push. But the thing about Wellstring on Rainmaker, they've got the Object Shredder. It bursts it pretty much immediately. And it is really, you really have to keep that in mind if you are against it. You can't go anywhere near that shield if the Wellstring is still alive. And yeah, it's definitely a conscious pick. I can definitely understand the counter pick from Tentacle Nuke Inkbound because they do have the Dreadringer from Egg. I thought they might bring a second bucket as well. Maybe they had another one, but they do not. And it's Anarchists that are able to get the first checkpoint here. And it is Tentacle Nuke Inkbound on the back foot. Tame just trying to go in and get something from that. I mean, Rainmaker on this map, it is so difficult to push past the right-hand section after the checkpoint. You pretty much just have to wipe the other team or make sure you have something that can really just push in, like Egg does with the Reef Slide. And they've managed to set up really quickly. They're going to get this checkpoint quite easily, I think. And Egg is already on the other side. There's someone mid, though. Tame is mid. Egg is going to have to use that Reef Slide the other way, and Tame is still there. I mean, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have a big problem here because Tame is just not going down, and they get a pick. They could get another one as well. Huge work from Tame to keep Tentacle Nuke Inkbound for getting a big push there.
Ooh, 1496 trying to get a sneaker push in the Rainmaker, just switch those leads around. That could have been absolutely humongous if they got them, but unfortunately the Rainmaker did go back to the center of the map. Earlier than expected, 3 players down on the side of the Tentacle Nukes, allowing the Anarchists to pop the Rainmaker and push forward. But when that was happening, they lost 2 of their frontliners of their own, and this might just stall the Rainmaker in the middle of the map here. Then Anarchists still in control, and that's what they want. 3 players down now on Tentacle Nukes. This is where they can go in. Snipes hold the Rainmaker. Another player goes out, effective, delayed wipe. Looking at the decaf. Almost splattered as well, and there they go. The Rainmaker now being pushed forward, and they had the reverse sweep, but not just quite 1 point. But the Anarchists are looking absolutely fierce in this one. Tame sharking, and I don't think they know it's there. Big splat going on the side. Can they get the splat? Yes, they can. They're looking at the next player with a huge splash wall. Unfortunately, they do get splatted, but what a push from the Anarchists when this battle slows down a tiny little bit, forcing the Tentacle Nuke to Havoc, the KO right now, a position they don't want to be in, and Anarchists basically set themselves up for an almost guaranteed 2-2. We thought it would be a 3-0, but they are bringing this back home and swinging it their side. The Tentacle Nukes have a huge challenge they have to face right now.
They really do. I said at the start that is going to be the big challenge, pushing through that part of the map, and Anarchists were able to do it with the Ultra Stamp and everything else that followed. And now Tentacle Nuke Inkbound have it all to do, and we can see here, I mean, they're just blocked in. They just have to try and force their way in, as Egg has done. The Ultra Stamp coming out, they're starting to make some way, but I mean, Anarchists, they're not losing their players. Egg going in with Reef Slide, able to get one. Is it going to be enough, though? I mean, the 2 players, they've grabbed it. They've grabbed the Rainmaker. I don't know if anyone is there. Someone is there, thank goodness, from the perspective of Anarchists. Someone almost tried to run it to the goal. But yeah, Anarchists staying alive. Snipes having a really easy job with the Wellstring. You're not really going to be able to just force your way past that. You're going to have to try and do something. And Tame is able, even if Tame gets splatted trying, they can just go in from the side with 52 Gout and cause issues for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. But having said that, they really are making some headway into this game. They have to KO it, and they know that. So Rhythm, with the Ultra Stamp, I've kind of just noticed Anarchists are running 2 Ultra Stamps on this game, which it's not the best special, but they can just throw it. They can just throw it.
It does make sense in this map. In a long push phase like this, the Ultra Stamp is a huge special. It's the same with the Reef Slider. You can do so much damage in the corridors that this map is throwing at you. 2 players down, so the Tentacle Nuke with 26 seconds remaining, 1496 at the big flank, getting rid of that. That's the Viper. Yes, they can get rid of the second one. And looking at Anarchy, they got a trade with Anarchy, but it's 2 players down on the side of the Anarchists. That might spell disaster for them if they pick up the Rainmaker in time. Tentacle Nukes. The Rainmaker is such an unfortunate position, and it reset could not be the worst time. They are going to pop it though. No, I don't think they are actually. There's no players in the middle. They popped it, and there's no one there to grab it. From 2-0 to 2-2. Anarchists not giving Tentacle Nuke an easy time. If they said, well, if you want to, I want to win 299 to 83. Not quite a KO, but basically as good as it gets. And the reverse sweep, it might just be on. It might just actually happen here on the NSE. Very, very unexpected plays coming in from both teams right now.
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, it's all tied up now. All of that work that Tentacle Nuke Inkbound did earlier in the set has been undone because it is 2-2. They are all square going into the Clan Blitz game. Anarchist, I mean, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, I mean, this certainly would be pretty devastating to lose the grand final over the summer to this team and then find yourself 2-0 up against them the next season in the Swish stage, and then to get reverse swept. All the pressure is on them right now. Whether they feel it is another question. Maybe they're cool about it. They know that Anarchists are a really good team, and they've done really well to get 2-0 up. They almost took splat zones as well. I did like this idea from the Naught player at the end, but it was just a little bit. It wasn't quite timed because, I mean, Tentacle Nuke Inkbound had lost everyone else. They went for a flank, but they were the only one alive. And when you're going for the KO, you have to try and make a play like that because you have to pretty much wipe them. It could have worked, but unfortunately, Anarchists, their defense was just too strong. So we are going to go to Clan Blitz. And for what it's worth for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, they do get to counterpick again.
I think that for them is an optimal scenario because they can pick the map that they want to play on, though. They don't really work out on the humpback pump track, but I think that's also down to the fact that Anarchist had a strategy prepared for this one. I mean, the way they played it, the way they pushed it, the odd weapon changes, they were prepared, they were ready for a counter pick like that. Tentacle Nuke have to make a very, very calculated decision to get the right map mode in, because like you said, all the work that they've done is now undone. They can basically said, hey, we haven't played any games before, it's just one game, one winner takes home all. And it is the Tentacle Nukes, who are facing a lot of pressure right now, because losing in a best of 5 set already kind of sucks, but losing to a reverse sweep is honestly sort of the worst feeling, because you did so much work, like, yeah, we're going to win this, we can win this, and suddenly it's just gone. It's all gone, right, taken out of your face. No more candy for you. We have a counter pick ready, I believe. Let's go see what it is. It is Clemblitch on the Scourge. Gorge, the Splatoon 3 launch map. Some people love it, some people absolutely despise it. I think it's great, and I'm very excited to see what this Clemblitch game will bring us. We have not seen a best of 5 like this in this season's NSE. Not as intense. So let's see if it is the Anarchists who are going to take the reverse sweep, or if Tentacle Nuke can somehow still find a stop. The weapons have to be chosen carefully. The Anarchists are taking their sweet time, as the Tentacle Nukes are early ready. Both teams are now ready. We're going to see the weapons they've chosen. We're going to see if there's any major changes, or if most of them stayed with their comfort picks from last game. We saw some oddball weapons, so I don't think we're going to see as much of the oddball on this match. But let's see. Big ol' Weapon Blaster Pro for Snipes going back to the classics, and no change on the side of Tentacle Nukes. They know what they're doing, and they are ready. Clemblitz, a game which can spiral out of control very quickly, or can be an absolute crazy stalemate for 4.5 minutes. It is always super unpredictable with the way these teams are playing. I don't think I want to even make a prediction.
No, you wouldn't want to be that person right now making a prediction, because it is so close between these two teams. The decav goes down early. I was going to say Big Bubbler on Clamblitz can be a really good special just for maintaining a push on the basket while it's open. They've been using decav really well the entire set, so why not stick on that? And yeah, both teams not really changing much at all. Anarchists, the Snipes is staying on the Rapid Pro again. I think they like how aggressive the Rapid Pro, or how aggressive they can play it compared to the Pencil. At least the Pencil can be a little bit slower, and it's definitely worked for them in the last 2 games to bring the set back, and it's still working for them now. They are going to get the first push on the basket with the Power Clam, and some more clams to follow, and they just keep getting the picks here on Tentacle Nuke Inbound, who are fighting to stop this reverse sweep from happening. It's just Egg on the Dread. They have Reef Slide ready to go, but they get taken out before it can come out. They are 2 players down again. This point score is just keep going down.
It's a spiraling out of control moment for Tentacle Nukers. They're struggling. They're scrambling to get some splats. The Anarchists do not have a lot of clams prepared, so Anarchists throw a couple more in, so does Rhythm. It's only 3 clams remaining until 100 KO push. This will be the absolute devastation coming out from the Anarchists. Oh, no. The 2 clams from Rhythm did miss there, though. Bit of breathing room for Tentacle Nukes. Breathe in, breathe out, calm down, recompose, and let's go pushing, because Tentacle Nukes now have a lot of work to do. 8 points remaining for Anarchists, and a full fat 100 for the Tentacle Nukes. And 3 players down is going to make that job even more difficult, as the Anarchists are already preparing for the second push. Second over to the basket. The Hammer does get a splat on the decav. That's what they wanted, because that is a big point of the defense gone for the Tentacle Nukes. The Rapid Blaster Pro does go down on the side of Anarchist, though. So without a technical cooler, I don't think they really want to push in. 2 players go down there as well. So the push is coming to an end. But Conroe, what a game for the Anarchists right now. They are on fire.
They really are, and I can't lie, Tentacle Nuke Inbound have been thrown a lifeline, because that absolutely could have ended right there. Egg on the Dread would not have been able to take out Anarchy in time. They had 3 clams, but they were just a little bit shy of the basket. They weren't going in. That could have been all the points they needed. But instead, we're going to see more Splatoon in this set But Tentacle Nuke Inkbound, despite the fact that, you know, they've been let off a little bit without a KO, they are really struggling to get into this game. It's always been Anarchist with the Power Clam. Egg tried to reslide onto the other team's basket area to get something going, but the reslide didn't get anything. Anarchist really trying to make, you know, not just reverse sweep, but a huge statement with this last game, because they are much closer to KOing this than Tentacle Nuke Inkbound are to getting any points. And they have a lot of clams on them, and the players are going down again for Tentacle Nuke Inkbound. They only need this power clam and 3 more clams after it to get it done. This could be it. The power clam goes in. They've pushed it to 5, but it's a wipeout again. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound hanging on by a thread in this game. They almost have to KO this themselves to win, and they only have 80 seconds to do it.
Another lifeline being thrown at them, and a very good defense. They have a power of their own right now. They're throwing it in. 1496 with the splashdown as well to open that basket, but they don't have as many clams ready as Anarchist had it. They're only able to push it to 50, 65. There's no follow-up clams after that. 2 players go down, and there's nobody at the basket anymore. This push is as good as it gets. It's not that big of a push. It's not bad, but compared to what you're facing up against, you need to score a lot more points at Tentacle Nuke. You need to be a lot more organized and synchronized to get more points on that board. The Anarchists are preparing with yet another push. They're not slowing down. They want this KO, and they want it badly. It is 1 power clam and 3 clams, and it is over for the Tentacle Nukes. There is everything to play for. They cannot afford to make a single mistake anymore. And as I say that, 3 players do go down, but there's no power clam really ready for the Anarchists, only the pity clam. I think someone's about to grab that though to make a power clam at the basket. As I say that, the basket's open. 3 more clams, it's game over. They have 1 in their hand. Can they get it in the basket? There's a couple clams in front of it. Yes, they can. 1, 2. And they keep coming in with the last clam. And I don't know who threw that, but someone did. And with a KO at the end, the Anarchists reverse sweep the Tentacle Nukes from 2-0 to 2-3. Anarchists are on fire, from losing to absolute dominance at the end. What a set here on the NSE.
Oh my goodness, what an incredible set. Huge reverse sweep from the Summer Champions Anarchists. Once again, just putting Tentacle Nuke Inkbound into the ground after the grand final at Summer. They get a rematch in the Swiss stage of this tournament. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound thought they were going to get some revenge, but Anarchists just say, no, you don't. We are going to win 3 games in a row to just put you in your place, as it were. We beat you last season, and we will do it again here. I mean, that was just amazing from Anarchists. They are competitive players. You know, they are not going to get put off by being 2 down. They are just going to stay composed, think about what they can do to win the following games, and they did it fairly convincingly in Rainmaker and Clamblitz as well. Tentacle Nuke Inkbound weren't really able to get into those games too much. Splat Zones was their best chance to get it done, I'd say, to clear it out 3-0. But again, Anarchists just clutched that out in the longest overtime I've ever seen in my life. But I mean, that set in general, I think, is just one of the most incredible I've seen.
That was insane. I think for the NSE, this might just one of the best sets we had on here. I think you're better to comment on that than I am, but from last week to this week, this was not just for the NSE, for Splatoon in general. This was peak competitive play. This is what you want to see, and this is what Splatoon is all about. Never giving up. There's always still a chance, and the Anarchists just proven that in the Swiss round. And it does leave no team that has gone winless through Swiss, so history will not be written today. Maybe in the next season. I think Tentacle Nuke, I think there's a bit of frustration. I think there is a little bit of discussion that had to be had in how they could lose that beautiful 2-0 right there. But Anarchists came back so incredibly strong. Whilst we are waiting for every single round to finish up. I think we're going on a small break on the stream until our next set is ready, but that does mean, Conor, we have to say goodbye to you because we are going to switch half of our casters on the stream, and again, it's not me, it's going to be you, it's going to be Spot. But before we go, Conro, where can the people find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can see me as it shows on the screen, conrosbl.bsky. I also stream on Twitch occasionally, and on Twitch I am just Conroe. Probably a good job I'm heading off, because the next set coming up is actually the team from the university that I went to. So I think I'd just be too guilty of commentary bias if I stayed around. So I can support them in the chat instead. So yeah, at this stage, there is still Portsmouth Paladins, who have gone completely undefeated. They've won every match 3-0. You're going to see Portsmouth Palafins in the next one versus the team from Sussex, which is Section 8. So enjoy that. Yeah, Hat is going to stick around and be joined by Pat for the next one. But yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Really fun yet again to commentate on that. A couple of crazy matches, and I'm sure I'll be back for more NSE as well. So yeah, stick around, everyone. Despite everything, you have one more match after all that excitement. So stick with Hat and Pat for that, and I will see you next time.
And welcome back to the NSE. My name is Het, and I have a beautiful new co-host on stream, freshly shaven beard. It is none other than my counterpart, Pat. Pat, how are you doing on this lovely, lovely Monday evening?
I am doing great, and I'm ready to watch some more NSE action. This time it's going to be the Portsmouth Paladins going against Section 8. Section 8, I'm not sure where they are from exactly, what university they represent. Oh, it's the University of Sussex.
Very nice. Okay, as a Shark fan, I love their logo. I'm going to be
It's
rooting for
looking
them.
pretty good.
But we saw the Palafins last week, and they were quite strong. We have not seen Section 8 this season yet.
Mhm.
I don't recognize any of their names as well. We saw the Palafins, of course, last week. Dude and Sneaky did some very funny stuff on the stream there. So hopefully they can do some more stuff again. But I don't think Section 8 will let us down if we go look at their match history really quickly if the website wants to load. They had a bit of a tough battle there. They did win 3-0 against the Drizzlers, but they did lose 3-0 against the Portsmouth Paladins, 3-0 against the Portsmouth Paladins again, and they won 3-1 against the Ruskin Ravens, and also 3-0 against the Glasgow Glowfly. So they have a decent mixed history of wins and losses. They have not faced the Palafins this season yet. So there might be something on the horizon as these teams are unfamiliar with each other this season. So between any change in the composition between last season and this season, it might just mean winning or losing. We're going to start it off again on Mahi Resort. The curse will remain here on stream.
Hey, teams are choosing that map. This is the map teams want to play on, and there's a reason for that. Whatever your composition, whatever you can play on, there's going to be a good way to play that map for your team composition. There's going to be a good dynamic for your team. People enjoy playing here, and especially on turf wars where anything can happen, going to a map where you know what you can do and you know how to do it is very important. That being said, it's important for both teams, and both teams benefit from it. And as the Palafins only have 3 players, I guess we're gonna reset the game, unless they really believe in their skill.
That's a new strategy to be sure. I don't think we're going to play this game. Indeed, dude did cancel that. Bit of a surprise there. I didn't really have a good look at the weapons, unfortunately. I believe it was a reflux, but it wasn't a regular reflux. It was like the reflux the custom reflux, I believe it's called. Bit of an odd weapon choice. You'd say you just have the missile spam because that's the usual turf war. I think the Palafins, or at least the Palafins, did indeed have a thing there. Oh, we can see the weapons now. It is indeed the custom or the new reflux. Same with the Zinc Mini. No, it's also the new mini split. The names are so confusing because there is like no consistency in there. But the weapons indeed are interesting. Every single team member here has something unique there. Though that Splatter Shot Pro actually looks really scary. We have not seen that much of the weapon in this tournament, but I've played it pro as well in ranked, and that thing is actually scary if you can make the best work of it. And there is the Void weapon. It is the Rapid Blaster Pro freeze from that. We saw it last match. It has Detector Cooler. Snipes made the most work of that. Let's see if the team compositions will work out for them. Local Red, of course, with the mini splatling. We saw the damage they could do with that Inkzuka pet. Let's see how these two teams are going to face it off here in the best of 3 turf war set.
Yeah, well, it looks like the Palafins are taking control of mid. Early as Dude is wave sliding in with that aerospray dancing around. Dude is an aerospray main. Remember, it's not just for turf wars. Right now, first 30 seconds, and the Palafins took a lot, but Axel is coming back in there. Is going to get a double. That's great moves by Axel, still dancing around, pushing with that Dreadringer. And now all of Section 8 is in mid, taking a lot of control there to almost punish the Booyah Bomb, but the Booyah Bomb is going to save the Palafins and allow them to go back in. Oh, Dude getting a double, completely opening the map for the Palafins,
There's a beautiful opening, and that's exactly how you want to play turf war here. The Palafins now in control of the game, putting the Section 8 into the danger zone. Big placement coming there from Sneaky. Gets a huge splat on Apples, but gets splatted themselves by Oxel. Now Oxel fighting against a Reef Slider, and do with another double splat, another huge Reef Slider, and this is what they've been doing last game, and they've been doing it this game as well. The Aerospray might not be their greatest weapon, but the fact it can spam Reef Slider so much honestly makes it worth it in games like Turf War. Section 8 unable to find an opening in the defense of the Palafins, unable to find a way into the mid battle. Banana fighting against Apples, and Chi in a very unique spot gets a splat on. Apples looks at Chi now, who's stuck in the unpaintable and the unswimmable part, but we see the Bow get too greedy and splattered by 3 members, and this will allow Section 8 to push in the middle of the map here, Pat.
Yeah, Section 8 finally able to drop to go in, and with 3 players down, they're gonna take control of mid. The Paraffins had so much paint around, but right now Section 8 is coming back into this game when the last 45 seconds had, and right now it's all Section 8 with the momentum getting more and more control on the Paraffins, trying to find a way in. Now that Boya Bomb created some space, put some paint around, and is allowing the Paraffins to go in, get 3 splats, almost a 4th. That's going to be Section 8 moving back with 20 seconds left. They need to push back in now.
There's no time to lose indeed. 16 seconds left to get some paint on the board. It's definitely doable. We saw it last game too. Can it be done once again? Not with 3 players alive on the side of Section 8. Big Reef coming in, get rid of Sneaky. But we see Local Red getting rid of that refrag there. And I don't think there's a lot that the Section 8 can do as the Pelafins. Whilst the middle might be painted, they were painting the base of Section 8 with a very, very, very yellow map. We can confidently say Pelafins take game number 1.
Section 8 managed to bring the fight back into mid, but look at Yellow's side of the map. Their side is only yellow. Meanwhile, they managed to go into Section 8 team, and that, I mean, they as you said, they had their paint everywhere. That's game number 1 of Turf Wars for the Portsmouth Paraffins. But remember, it's still only the Turf Wars. You need to win 2 games in order to get a point.
I still love that about this tournament. I think more competitive tournaments should implement something like this. It's not enough Turf War that it gets, or it's just like just the right amount of Turf War. Not too much where it gets boring, but also not too little where it's like, yeah, why do you even bother? So I like this implementation, but the Pelafins with a very, very good win here. Section 8 already on their toes here. They did lose quite a lot of ground early on, and they only at the end were able to get out of their base and started painting. They did pick a counter, I believe, and that is going to be Robo Ramen, which I saw quickly flash by on my screen. Yes, it will be Robo Ramen as a counter pick. It does make sense though. It's a classic turf war map. It's a lot of flank opportunities, and there's a lot of ways you can get out of your spawn, which was the one thing Section 8 was very much struggling with. So I think it's a good counter pick. However, the Pelafins, we saw Robo Ramen last week as well with them on the stream, and let's just say the team they were playing against had a little bit of trouble getting out of their spawn either way. The Pelafins are so good at positioning themselves in all the spots of the turf war where you want to push and you want to start opening some ground for your team. So Section 8 has some work to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing we need to talk about for this map, and that's Reef Slider. Reef Slider is incredibly strong on Robo Roman, and both of these teams have a Reef Slider. But as you were saying earlier, on an Aerospray, you get more. You get so many more, and Duty knows how to get these Reef Sliders. So this is, I fear, a good map for the Pelafins, who are just going to spam that shark.
Well, not only that, I think the Aerospray just gets more paint overall, and then it has the Burst Bomb to follow up anything they might have missed. Oh, you're out of range. Well, I just have to press R and you get a bomb, and then you can be gone anyway. So I think the burst bomb resetter combo with the Aerospray is actually a lot more scary than the Reef Slider of that Slosher.
I think it was Fizzy, right?
Was it Fizzy? That's not as scary, but still equally scary.
It's very scary, and it paints so much.
Sort of the same, but different. Let's see if we see any major team changes. Yes, we do. And Perry Dualies and a Luna Blaster, or a Neo Luna Blaster on the side of Section 8. Switching it up so I can see if it works. No, or they still have a Reslider on Oxel, but a Dreadbringer does not get Reslider as much as the Aerospray. Both of them have the Reslider ready though, and we see that Dude uses it early and gets rid of the Reslider on the side of Section 8. Dude, the Reslider king of the NSE today.
Yeah, Section 8 now in danger as the Portsmouth Paladins are simply painting around, taking a lot of control, and another Rift Slider coming in. It's non-stop explosions. The Paladins, they painting until like next to the spawn for Section 8. Now Section 8 needs to fight their way back in. Here comes very Slider. It's not going to find the splat, but it's able to get some space for Axel and the rest of the team who are getting themselves on the elbow hat. And right now, they are back to the fight for mid. They need to still fight their way forward though. And with 2 down on the Paladins, it looks like Section 8 is back in business.
They can finally start painting the paint they wanted to paint last game. Axel now pushing forward. They have the reset already. But it is Chi who is actually very aggressive with the Luna Blaster. And why would you not? There's a lot of little corners around there where you can stand behind, you can hide behind, you can do sneaky stuff. Getting rid of sneaky, but Local Red refracts that Luna Blaster Neo. Axel being forced back by the Booyah Bomb, but they still have the Re-Slider at the press of the button. There it is! Re-Slider and Splashdown against the mini spending a little bit much, but it did work out them. For the little bit of a trade on the side there, if you didn't notice, but it actually bit for Section 8 because getting rid of that reflux does mean a lot of paint is off the table for the Paladins. Section 8 is hanging on, but by a thread here, Pat.
Yeah, and as we're about to reach the last minute, it's 3 players down on Section 8. The Paladins simply cleaned up. Dude Reef sliding forward there to punish the jumps. Catherine, forced to move to the side, is completely called out and surrounded right there. It is the Portsmouth Paladin in control again with 45 seconds left into this game. Section 8 needs to find a push forward. Banana throwing the Booyah Bomb in. Oh, the splat on Beauty Dude is going to help them a lot, but they lost 2 players getting these splats. The Paladins have control over the map, Pat.
They have a complete control too. Not just a little bit, they have a ton of control. Section 8 very much in the danger indeed. Losing 2 players again. It is not the way you want to fight the storm for, but what's really gonna do? Another player is down and Paladins are positioned everywhere. This is where they excel so much that their positioning is key, learning from the sister team, the Paladins, who are showing them the ropes. 3 players down on the Paladins though. Section 8 might change something here. I don't think there's enough time to get that much paint on the board. Reef Slider will do something, but I don't think it will be enough. You saw the beautiful attempt pushing forward with the amount of paint in the base of Section 8. There is no discussion. As 2-0 for Turvar, Paladins take game number 1.
Yeah, once again, Section 8 able to bring the fight back into mid from time to time, but not able to completely push the Paladins away, not able to take control over the map. And of course, in Turf Wars, you need to take control over the map. That's the whole game right there. The Portsmouth Paladins are going to get the Turf Wars point with, honestly, in a commanding fashion.
Yeah, what I like about the Paladins is they were always able to maintain a fight at mid. Even if Section 8 had a streak of splats and had a streak of pushing, they were never able to take that fight very much beyond mid. They had some scraps in the opposing team's spawn, but not that much. Maybe they weren't, aggressive enough. Maybe they didn't really want to push there. I'm not sure. They were struggling to fight in the spawn of Paladins, and that allowed the Paladins to escape that spawn every single time. Combined it with very well coordinated specials and positioning, and it's almost a recipe for disaster for Section 8.
Hey, the Paladins are hard to fight. They go fast, they paint a lot. And when you have that amount of paint that the Paladins were outputting, like they were making sure that every fight they were taking with an advantage. That is big. That is game number 1, but it's only game number 1 now. Out of this best of 5 that we're just starting, we are going to tower control, and I believe Section 8 decided to go on Inkblot Art Academy hat.
Very nice choice. What I think Section 8 should do though, get a Tacticooler. We said that in another set as well. Tacticooler, such an essential special. Whether you like it or not, you need it, especially for games like Tower Control. Fast response for defensive and offensive maneuvers are just a necessity. But really, it's more of a defending special than offensive special here, because you need to be able to jump back in quickly after your checkpoint may have been taken. You really want to have those extra speed and ink buffs if you are fighting for that checkpoint. So Section 8 might need a small teaming composition here, but I think the pick of map is decent. I don't think it's the best map they could have chosen, but it is the most reliable map, that's for sure.
But we've played the turf wars on the reliable maps already, and that didn't work that well for Section 8. I feel like they might need to go to something a bit weirder if they want to surprise the Paraffins, because right now they're going with the safe picks. These are picks that are good for them, that they have well practiced, that they know well. But these are also picks that the Paraffins know as well, that the Paraffins have strats for. So we'll see if they're able to get in. One thing for sure is that there's this uninkable ramp, and we'll see Rift Sliders go through that ramp to go up there, into the opponent's bats.
I think if they wanted to go for the all-ball pick, go for Cargo Co, Shipyard Cargo Co, not Inkblot Art Academy. Like you said, it's a map that both teams know very, very well. Inkblot Art Academy, it does pose its challenges for both teams, though, and I think the oddball picks for Section 8 might make it worth it. I love the triple sub main up on Catherine's weapon. That's going to be a very fun threat to fight, but 2 players down early on the side of Section 8. Pelafins, however, also lost 2 players, so neither team really able to get on the tower. The Pelafins got on it now, after about 30 seconds have elapsed, but neither team is really making a big effort to start pushing.
Yeah, right now the fight is still going. It looks like Section 8 are able to get a few good splats, but it's only Duty Dude left for Paraffins. Duty Dude still moving the tower a bit forward, trying to maintain some presence and able to force all of Section 8 to look at them right now. Paraffins were able to respond, and it's 3 down onto Section 8. That's a delayed wipe. Banana is going to move in right now, and it looks like the Paraffins are getting to the first checkpoint.
Banana got way too greedy there, and that allows Section 8 to get rid of them, but in the process they did lose 3 players. Only Cat3 with a Jet Squelcher alive. Sneaky now slowly pushing forward, making quick work of them too. That's a delayed wipe on the side of Section 8 again. The Pelafins are now really making their way up the tower. Doodle-doo with a golden arrow spray, going to make sure that paint is on the board. The Sprinkler and I believe the Tri-Strikes are going to make a lot of... Oh, the Buoy Bomb, is it the Buoy Bomb or the Tri-Strikes? I keep forgetting. But I don't know, those sub and special will allow them to keep pushing forward, and that's what's very much important for the Pelafins. Another beautiful splat by Sneaky, looking forward to the next one. Gets apples too. They are hungry, and they had some fruits there, but they got splatted now. It's only Local Red alive. 3 players went down for a Pelafin splat, but they're still pushing.
They are pushing. We are 28 points remaining, and they're still super jumping in, but this time Section 8 are able to get the defense, are able to get back the control of their own platform. Oh wait, they lose 2 players once again. Banana on the tower is going to allow the push to go on, as all of the Paraffins are now in offensive position, trying to get in. Ooh, there's a few trades going on. That's going to delay things, but it's certainly not over. There's still splats coming, and they're more in favor of the Paraffins than of 8.
Sneaky getting 1, getting 2, looking at 3, getting at the 3rd as well. It's in the crab tank. They are hungry for the 3rd one. Can they get it smashed out? Yes, they can. Sneaky is not so sneaky anymore. It's more loudly at this point with the amount of noise they are making, the amount of destruction they are causing. Local Red on the tower just popped out a tactical for their teammates to use it. Doodle-doo with the Buoy Bomb, throwing it forward, getting rid of apples, and Axel, Doodle-doo, king of the specials this game, always finds someone in an unexpected spot to get rid of. Only 1 player alive for the Pelafins, and that is Banana. But what a push again for the Pelafins. They are not giving up. They are keeping it strong. Section 8 finally got the tower out of their bunker at this point. It's been about there for 3.5 minutes. Finally got some breathing room but they're still at 99 points and 2 checkpoints to go, whilst the Paladins are already at 20 pet. Such a difficult push for the Section 8 right now.
Yeah, Section 8 trying to get some ground, but they can't get momentum until they have paint around. Paladins are not letting them establish themselves. It's 2 down once again. Section 8 are forced out of mid, are forced almost out of their own platform. Apples you have less paint than your opponent on your platform. They need to paint right now because the Paladins are constantly getting more and more space for free.
They are definitely getting the space in one way or another. If it's free, if it's paid, they don't really care. They're getting it anyway. Dudes trying to get their special ready. They were on the tower, but being forced off by the Death Ringer from Section 8. Now, let's see if Section 8 can finally score more than 2 points. 98 is their current score. They have to beat 20 from the Paladins. Buoy Bomb does come out. They did lose their Slusher. So Section 8 already 1 player down. Banana does go down actually. That might be big. Local Red goes down too. Catching it in blue. That's a wipeout on the side of the Paladins. An unexpected one at that. And this is where they can score a lot of pointers. Section 8 have to make sure every single second counts because they're forced to push an overtime. Checkpoint 1. Not a single sweat taken. Not a single sweat is on the field. 2 players down on the side of the Paladins again. But they are preparing to push. Banana sneaking it up. Tactic Cooler ready. Splashdown ready as well. Can he get on the tower? No, but then he gets splattered fat. They're still pushing and they're still going strong. Section 8 is trying to win this in overtime here.
Yeah, the checkpoint is right there. And there's a few trades, but Section 8 are able to get past it. But it's too late. The Paladins had 1 player sneak their way onto the tower. It is so hard to push in overtime. I mean, there's so much to pay attention to. You both need to go forward and keep your presence on the tower, of course. Paladins, thanks to their early push, are going to get the tower control game, which means that they are on match point.
3 or 2-0. It's a lovely, lovely sight for a team like the Paladins, but Section 8 had me on the edge of my seat at the end, though. I can talk about the Paladins' dominance all day long. We've already said it thousands of times in that specific set. But the Section 8 comeback at the end, forcing into the overtime, and only because Chi got splattered by, I believe, Banana, is why they lost that game. They are doing an amazing job on the overtime push at the end there, but I think I want to talk about Sneaky for a second. Because Sneaky wasn't really that sneaky at all. They were just in the front line. They were shredding. They were tearing it up. They were screaming with that blaster. And I felt like Section 8 just had no response to that for the longest time.
I mean, you know how dangerous the blaster can be in tower control. And Sneaky reminded us why every position you want to take is a position the blaster likes to attack. And we really saw that full force on the side of Sneaky, absolutely shredding their way in, getting control, getting splats over and over. But now all the pressure is on Section 8. They cannot lose a game anymore, and they want to take at least 1 off of the Paladins. They've been able to win a few fights, but they haven't been able to really establish themselves, establish presence. And going into splat zones, they're going to need the tools to paint.
Well, we saw the weapons that they were playing. I think they have the tools to paint the map. I definitely think they do. It's just they need to also able to find the splats against the Paladins. I think that's the more difficult part. Painting, I don't think is that big of an issue. It's more so that they're fighting against 2 opponents, or they're fighting against 4 players who are excelling at splatting you. And even if you get through the front line, there's still a massive backline hurdle you have to go through. So Section 8, that's where their work is cut out for them. And I don't want to say it again, but I kind of have to say it again. Tactic Cooler is your best friend here. It allows you to go in, it allows you to respawn fast, it mitigates a lot of damage. I don't know why they're not running it. I know they're not as competitive as we might expect.
Yeah, let them play. I mean, we're at this point of the tournament where changing plan, changing weapons is not necessarily the best thing. I think it's about changing your mindset right now. Section 8 needs to push, needs to find their way in, but going on Macoma, that's a good map pick, because this is a map that will allow them to come back into it.
Definitely will, but it also allows Sneaky to use the blaster again to its full potential. Lots of little ledges, and we know what blaster likes. That's the reason why it works so well in tower control. Ledges, AoE damage, the blast radius and the custom blaster is huge. So I know it's a bit of a comfort pick for Section 8. I know it's a map that they know, that they've practiced on, that we all know and love and adore. But I find it a very hard one for Splat Zones. Especially already what we see what the Paladins do, what their composition is. I think Section 8 picked is very much for the comfort. They did have a surprise at the end of the tower control. I give them that. So I'm not gonna say it's going to be a bad pick. I'm going to say it's a bit of a difficult one.
Yeah. I mean, every pick is a difficult one when you are going against the Portsmouth Paladins. They've been shredding. They've been incredibly strong right here. And right now, going on to Macromat, we'll see if Section 8 are able to get back on to get back in there, to get some control, to get some paint on the zone. And I think we're got, yeah, that's going to be back to the silver aerospray for Judy Jude, and back to the reef slider as well for Section 8 with Axel on the Dreadwinger.
I also like the rain coming out from Catherine, and look at that, she listened to the advice, and the Tri-Slosher Tacticooler is out, and a frontline Tacticooler might actually be the thing that Section 8 needed. We already saw them playing a Slosher earlier. No, didn't play Slosher earlier, but they did play some frontline weapons earlier, so I think a Tri-Slosher Tacticooler is the way to go. Paladins, the first team to take the zone. They did get a couple players off Section 8, off the map too. Can they maintain it is the question, though, as we see Section 8 throwing a lot of stuff in that zone there. Tacticooler and Rain comes out their pet, so I think they're looking to capture that zone here.
Yeah, right now, that's a lot of points for the Paladins, who are also getting a wipeout. Full control of the map as Banana is going in and maintaining lots of aggro. Oh, dude, getting a quad. Oh, what was in the corner of our screen? We saw that Reef Slider and that beautiful moves that Judy Jude got. Now 30 ticks left onto the map, and I mean the Paladins are simply cleaning up right now, ending this set. There's nothing Section 8 can do.
They have one chance to get into the zone, and they have to neutralize it now, but will Paladins allow it? Only a couple ticks left. They have a splattle. Brief that goes in. Is it enough? Yes! It is enough to set a penalty, even with a wipeout. They had 1 second remaining, and they took that second to the most they can take a second to. Still, though, they did get wipes. I don't think they got that much out of it with the Reef Slider. You can see it so much. Another wipeout on the side of Section 8. The Paladins. I kind of feel sorry for Section 8 there, but the Paladins are doing such an incredible job here right now in the defense.
I mean, Paladins are not stopping. They maintain their presence, their advantage. Jude going around with Banana, chasing, smelling blood, and it's not stopping this time. Wait! Another Reef Slider! Another Reef Slider to keep the game alive for Section 8. Section 8 still, like, all they can do is keep the game alive. They need more than that. They need to push in. They have 2 players next to the zone, but they're a bit too far. And they have less and less time each time to get back onto the zone.
But this might be it. They have 2 players down on the side of Paladins. They have the zone captured there too. Reef Slider coming in. Doesn't really connect to anyone and gets punished right away. Good frags coming in from Section 8. This is where they actually start scoring a lot of points and they're pushing it to 84 right now. Can they hold on to that though? I don't think they can. But at least they held on to it a little bit, so they can say that at least it's not like a massacre on the side of the Paladins. Though it still kind of is. They are looking for another opening. They are looking to get some specials ready because that's what they need right now. Especially Tacticooler is very much required. They have a Reef Slider going into neutralize zone again. Will it paint? No, it will not fully paint. It will only neutralize, but that's not quite enough. as the Pelicans can just paint again and keep their penalty going. Only 10 ticks of penalty remaining, and then it's game over. Big spat from Sneaky, and with that, there is nothing that Section 8 could do, as the Pelicans dominantly take game number 3, allowing them to win this round 3 of the NSC. And unfortunately, Section 8 has to go home with 0 wins this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Portsmouth Pelicans, very strong, very fast, very much, I mean, dominating that last game and reminding us how good they can be, how dangerous they can be, how fast they can move. Beautiful 3-0 by them. Section 8 kept it alive to the very last second. They fought till the very last second, but in the end, it was not enough. The Portsmouth Pelicans took control of this map.
They definitely did fight till the very end, and you gotta give them respect for that. Even if they were in a scenario where they kept wiped out, I believe, 5 times in a single game, they kept strong, they kept their head down, and they kept their composure up. And that is, in my opinion, a winner's mentality. They had some beautiful moments in this match as well. And I shouldn't feel too bad. Today, they did won 2 of the 3 matches they did play. So they didn't go home with no... Oh, sorry, they won 1 of the 3, I'm sorry. They won against the Durandos. So they didn't go home without any points, but fighting against the Portsmouth Paladins and the Pelicans on a single day, that's a tough pill to swallow, I think. But they nonetheless still did a very, very good job. Looking at the Pelicans, they only won 2 of the games today. They did not win against Uwawa. So I think lessons are to be learned there. But both teams did the best they can. And I like that Section 8 still gave us all the occasional surprise with holding onto that zone for so long. And then the tower control game as well, somehow finding a way to almost push towards the lead. I love to see that from a team like this.
Yeah, a lot happened in the end. That is the end of the day for this week at Splat NSC Winter 25. We still have a lot more weeks to go through before the end of this season, and these teams are still showing us what they can do, how well they can fight. The Portsmouth Pelicans for sure just showed us that they're aiming for the top, that they want to get more points, that they want to get more action. Now, Hat, it's time for us to say goodbye, but before we go, do you have something to plug?
Well, if the names can switch right there, you see it below me, casterhead.nl on Blue Sky, or just type it in your browser and you go direct to the Blue Sky page. It does make it a little bit easier. I make it easy for you guys, don't I? I barely use it, but maybe a lot of spam coming soon for this weekend for no particular reason. But Pat, where can we find you?
I can find me on Blue Sky as well. Padger Tom is the best way to find me. Yeah, you'll also be able to find me at Octofest this weekend with your hat. Can't wait. If you're in Europe, this is the big LAN. You have to go to it. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, maybe we'll see you there. Maybe we'll see you all in Paddling Pool in 2 days, of course, because it's every Wednesday. More action coming soon on Dapple Productions. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Jorian, our wonderful observer. And we'll see you in the next one.